out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark.
A lot going on here on the program today. My goodness gracious, we just keep it rolling along. David Smith joins us, the finest NFL analyst everywhere. We're going to talk about the AFC South today. Breaking down the divisions, getting ready for training camp. Chris Coleman going to join us from Tech Sideline. Andy Bitter out in the Northeast. So we'll have Chris on today at 7. Ron Shelburne, Radford Hall of Famer. 2 Radford Hall of Famers today. How about that? 7:30. And then Dwight Vick. I mean, that is a massive amount of free valued entertainment for you. The less. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for subscribing. Please stay subscribed. Come by anytime. Good morning, everybody. We indeed got our subscription from the Swiss posters. We now have 14 different nations that are subscribed to BDST. Welcome, Switzerland. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing okay. So we got a lot going on today on the show. My goodness gracious. Good morning, Prometheus. Good morning, T-Bird. As we get in to David Smith here in the NFL coming up. a lot going on, a lot of things that we're going to get into. But tonight is the debut of Big Dog Pop. So I will put a post up. It will still be on the BDST channel. I have not made a separate channel for Pop. We're going to see how it goes. But you are welcome tonight to stop by, send me your email address. Just send it to me on the professional door text line at 391-0788. And I can get up to 6 folks here on the screen at one time, and we're going to put people up and just have good discussions about whatever might be on your mind. Pop culture, movies, TV, music. Of course, we'll talk about sports, whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. So that will be tonight at 7 o'clock tonight. We're going to debut Big Dog Pop here on this channel. Okay. So you don't have to go searching for it somewhere else. All right. Please say Oma. Is that what I'm supposed to say? There you go, Daniel. I did it. I did. Well, Oma, is that what you say? Is that like the Nomar Garcia Parra? Good morning, Chris Lester. How you doing? Good to see you. So yeah, that's tonight, and we'll have a good time. It'll be a little more unfiltered than we are here in the morning live program. So we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll hope to have some good discussion. And I think it's going to become a big thing. I do. Well, to 7 o'clock tonight for me. It's 7 o'clock. Well, Trey, we're going to get into the AFC South today with David Smith. So you have to wait here just a little bit. We've already done the East and the North. We're going to get into the South. Have the Jags turn the corner for good? Are the Colts going to bounce back? What's going on in Tennessee? But I think there's one team in that division that stands above the rest, and we'll see if David Smith agrees. From Shelburne's Casa, deep in the Snowville woods, Big Ron comes out today with story time and carrying a box full of Farm Bureau brochures. BDST is alive. You're kicking. NFC will be next week. We'll finish off. Well, no, I'm sorry, 2 weeks. Sorry. We'll finish off. We'll do the AFC West next week, and then we'll start with the NFC, the East, then the North. So you'll get them in about 3 weeks. And I'm telling you, Trey, I don't care where you go. When you watch the segment today with David Smith, you're going to go, why do I waste my time with anybody else, especially those bozos on ESPN? He is the best in the biz. And you will love it. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here. 540-282-94. Thanks to Jason Green. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, 155 Walters Drive, sponsor of our chat room. Thanks to Mark. Go over there and get your back looked at if you're having some issues. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan and to Tim Miller. Yeah, it's an honor to be associated with the growth that they are providing throughout the community in Pulaski County and beyond. Little River Heating and Air's Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. The attorney Ryan Pry, our BDST fan question of the week, didn't last long, got answered for us in real time. Trust and Estate Planning, 701 West Main Street. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and of this program, thanks to Lara Ramsey. We already mentioned Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams, going to start year 40 coming up. The 39th year is about to conclude. We've got some cool stuff coming regarding that for you, the customer. Dun, dun, dun. ReadySetFund.com. That's Bob Chris, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. How your school group, organization, church group can raise money in within a week. If you have a certain goal you need, they can help you immediately. Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations of any business in our region down in Elliston. 5-star ratings, attention to detail, cost they keep low, quality of work unmatched. So be sure to reach out to those folks. The NRB Super Bowl, we're going to have our bash. Terry, 382-5525. They're bowling for backpacks Saturday, June 27th, a week from this Saturday, 10 a.m. Make sure it's only $50 per team of 4 for 3 games. They have raffles, prizes all day, and they're going to donate everything to school supplies to help out all the kids. So what a great cause, what a great community outreach by the Super Bowl, where we will be having our bash in July. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, since 1997, give James a call, 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street. And I believe that's everybody. Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel as well. Appreciate that. Too early to tell, Trey. I don't have a Super Bowl winner yet. Can't get there yet. Got to get through training camp. Right now, my favorite would be the Rams, obviously, what they did with Myles Garrett. We touched on that last week, David and I. What's up, Austin? Good morning. How are you? David Smith is the best kept NFL secret. Exactly. And I know he's on my show, and I've known him a long time. He's one of my favorite people of all time, David Smith. So, I'm going to have an affinity for him. But if you just separate all that and listen to the things that he says, then you try to watch any of these morons who try to come across like they know things. And then you go to X and you see because it's all agenda driven. It's all click driven. Nobody's doing it in the best interest of just reporting and talking about the games and the sport and the players. David is just 100% in that. He's the best in the biz. And I say that whether I knew him or not. If I didn't know him and I watched this segment, I would contact the host of this show. In this case, it's me. And I'd say, man, that guy you have for NFL, you better hang on to that dude. I do. I have a man crush on David Smith. I'm really close with his wife, too, by the way, who had a birthday a couple of days ago. I wished her happy birthday, belated. Well, not belated, because I wished her happy birthday. But Pebbles, happy birthday week to you. If you haven't met them, if you come to a Radford game, they sit right beside us on press row. They're on the courtside seats. You need to come by and experience to say, hey, we'd love to get David out to the bash. It'd be great. Maybe he can make it out. Maybe we can. I'll ask him on the air today. How's that? I know people have asked. We'd love to have him. I'm not sure about the Bills, Trey. I think their window might be. We'll see. I think the whole scapegoating of Sean McDermott is going to backfire on them, in my opinion. But we'll see. I might be wrong. Maybe they knew something internally we don't. But big fan of Josh Allen. But he hasn't won a damn thing. It's time. If you're going to do it, it's time. I'm a Broncos lifer, and I heard that throughout John Elway's career, and then he finally got his back-to-back rings. Will that happen with Allen? I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see what progresses there. But we have a lot going on today. David Smith, Chris Coleman, Ron Shelburne, and Dwight Vick. That's a lot of show. I don't know how many texts people were. So apparently yesterday, and I'm going to stick by, I try to be consistent. I don't want to be like over here when one scenario pops up and then over here when something else pops up. So yesterday, apparently the number one allegedly high school football recruit decided to go to LSU. And Virginia Tech was in the final pairing and all this stuff. And he went to LSU and he, As a matter of fact, two players that had it down and Tech was there, both chose different places yesterday. And I had all these people texting me. And look, I appreciate the texts on the Professional Door text line, but bemoaning the fact that, Tech couldn't close the deal and asking me about money. Hell, I don't know the dollars. You're not going to outbid LSU. Virginia Tech's not there despite the money that they've received. They've done a great job with the money. They've shown that with the kids they've reeled in. And it goes back to what I've been trying to say since all this started. I've gotten criticism from people. No, I don't sit here and talk about recruiting a whole lot because it's not the same. I don't think it holds much other than the publicity part. It's awesome, but let's get people here. Let's see if they play here, and let's see if they develop here. Keep them here. And yesterday they lost that kid, and I guess at some point they probably felt pretty good about it. I don't know. It comes down to money. It came down to money. I've been telling you that from day one, and I know relationships are important, and everybody can talk about that, and they can promote this like it was, the old school way of doing things, but it's not. And I don't know how many times I have to share stories that in the coaches I talk to, but people don't want to change in the direction. They see all these commits. They say, wow, look at this coaching staff, wherever it might be. What a great job recruiting. Sure. But when you've got mega dollars behind you like LSU to prove it, you don't have to necessarily be a great recruiter. And people were a little upset about Franklin not being able to get – and my response to everyone, and you can tell me, I said, why? Why are you upset? Okay. So they didn't get supposedly the number one player in the state. Look at the progress that he's made. Look at the commitments that he has. You think everything's just going to fall into place overnight. And who knows, right? This kid might decide to leave the state and then say, you know what? Maybe I should go back. He may keep an eye on what's going on here, and he may fall out of favor somewhere else, and he may want to come back home. It happens a lot. So let's just see how things play out. Don't get down. You're not going to get everybody. There's not that much money. I've been saying this, and I got some pushback. It's amazing I get pushback, and then later when it happens, this $75 million gift, everybody was falling all over themselves, right? And it's great. It's awesome. It's a one-time gift. Nobody's ever donated that much. It's awesome. You got all this new $259 million. It's great. And the original thought is, boy, that's going to last a long time in today's – no, it doesn't. And you don't know how much is distributed amongst boom, 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 boom. You don't know what facility, whatever it might be. Money is always going to change. Always. Right? But I don't give a damn about recruiting rankings. I don't sit there and go, wow, look at that. They moved up in the composite 4.6 second, whatever it is. It's great for publicity. It's great for momentum. Fans get off on it. I understand why you like it. I understand why these sites enjoy it so much. But let's get people here. These kids all have to go through a senior high school. This kid, he's not signing, right? Just like the Tech recruits. They haven't signed. This kid may go through his season. You think Tech's just going to go away from him? Right? Do you think James Franklin's going to see that this kid left and you think he doesn't know how to handle this whole thing? Let's just see what happens. That's right, Coach Elmo. You never lost what you never had. Move on. Move on. And let's see what happens with this kid. Let's see what happens with all these guys. We got a whole season. There's not one kid across the country that's verbally committed anywhere that's being left alone. And if you think a guy like James Franklin's going to worry about any of that stuff, he'll say, okay, all right, congratulations, young man. Let's see what things look like after the season. That's all. Yeah, that's right. You got to get them to December. That's exactly right, Chris, because it's going to be hitting hot and heavy from August through November and really through early December. Yep. We'll talk to Dwight about all this. But there were a lot of doom and gloomers, and I didn't understand why. I think the progress that's been made and what's already happened, and I brought this up when the Notre Dame kid was asked to leave. We're like, when Notre Dame said, we've got 2 5-stars. We didn't expect to get this latest kid necessarily. And the immediate school he went to was Virginia Tech. And I told you what a positive development that, to me, that was. Now, hopefully it works out for him here, and he'll come here. But I thought that was pretty quick how he made that decision. It shows you how close really he was sitting on he was kind of teetering, right? Just kind of teetering. They're considering Virginia Tech. Let's look at both sides of it. All right. They know the money is now there. This goes hand in hand with bringing James Franklin in and the constant promotion of how much money is now available in the program. Do you not think that this is marketing, intentional marketing? Exactly. And the kids follow each other. They know. You don't think they talk about offers? Chris, you know. You don't think they talk about what Tech came at them with their friends? I mean, with the higher recruits, they get to know each other. Hell, they're probably sharing agents more than we know. You don't think those conversations are out there about how Tech's a player now financially? Of course they are. We want it to be like the old ways. And this is what I was trying to answer people yesterday. You want to say, boy, they like Virginia Tech. And sure, if they came on their visit and they listened to James Franklin, I'm sure they liked it here. But they're not coming here because they like it here in most cases. They're not going to Baton Rouge and looking around and going, wow, maybe they are. But I think when they realize that, wow, look what I'm going to make. And I don't know how to frame that anymore. Let's just say that it's happening everywhere. And you're talking about 17, 18-year-old kids. You don't think that giddiness about 7-figure potential before you take your first collegiate snap has put them in a realm of relevance in their own mind? Come on. So don't get down. It's been awesome what's been accomplished so far on paper. On paper, it's been awesome. And it's great that Franklin knows how to market better than anybody. He's using that on his social medias. He's going around saying, look at this kid we got. Look at this kid. Look at what we're doing. Look at the inroads. And it's all true. But don't get people got just so dejected yesterday. Okay, 2 kids went elsewhere. Okay. You're not going to get them all. You're not going to get them all. And that's what I said. The money part of it has made Tech, and Franklin has made Tech now part of the conversation again. And that is a great step. And you can't take great strides and jump over the Grand Canyon. Remember, Evel Knievel crashed over Snake River because he thought he could do it all in one swoop. It didn't work out that way. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, well, I'm not saying, Wayne, that they should rest, but and how do you say this without it sounding negative? Despite the financial gains Tech has made, they're still not in the ballpark of the SEC or the Big Ten. But don't let anybody fool you, and don't let any of these sites and people, this is all about money. it would be all about money for me if I were a 5-star recruit. I'm not saying I'm above it. I'm 17, 18 years old, and I got 10 schools coming at me, offering me 7 figures. You get through your senior year of high school, man, you have a big year. Hell yeah. Come on. One thing we try to do is be real. We try to filter out any BS. I'm not going to sit here and try to – I talk to enough people. It may not fit the agenda of some. I don't care. If you disagree, that's why we're all here as a family. You know what? You can have disagreements and still feel great about one another. That's what life's supposed to be about. Not supposed to be about always agreeing, falling into the echo chamber so everybody's just nodding like a drone. Yeah. Wow. It's not, you're not going to get that here. All right. Anyway, Chris Coleman, Ron Shelburne, Dwight Vick, and we're going to talk to Dwight about all this stuff and about what happened yesterday. Joining us now on the program, there he is, the absolute best at what we've just been talking about, the National Football League and everything else. David Smith, what's up? Also Radford Hall of Famer.
Good morning, brother. How are you, man?
I'm okay, man. You know, I'm a married guy again. Who knew? Who knew?
Let me tell you, congratulations, first of all. I had the benefit of letting you know that you outkicked your coverage.
Correct.
But as have most of us, right? As
yes.
have most of us.
Yes. Yes.
She won't remember me, but I remember her. We met at the gala.
She knows you, my friend. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Well, I hope that's okay.
That's okay. I think it helped her say yes.
oh, shoot. Wow, I don't even know how to respond to that. And that's saying a lot if I don't have anything to respond to. But congratulations to you on your June nuptials. I'm a June nuptials guy. Next week is our anniversary too.
Hey!
So there we are. So in June, we both will have no dollars and no cents.
That's right. Correct.
Take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. No dollars and no cents. So there you go. But congratulations to you, man. And I heard you chime about Emerald Isle, and so you piqued my interest. I'm a beach guy largely.
Okay. All right.
More than mountains and more than hike. I like the hiking guys. God bless them. I like the beach. If I'm having to run, which I don't want to do anymore, but if I'm having to walk or move or work out, give me that sand and that surf and that beach, that serenity. No disrespect to it all.
Serenity now. Well, I'm telling you this, I always cautious when I promote something or really recommend something, but I'm telling you, man, if you like the beach, it's got our generation, it's got mid, it's got younger, it's got the right amount of mix of generational. Yes, it's not overcrowded. It's all resorts. There are no hotels on the beach.
3 checks.
You look out on your balcony, and regardless of where you are, you're seeing the ocean.
All right, Pebbles, if you're hearing this, she'll be doing research on this by about 8:30. That's all we talk about. Yeah,
it's a south-facing beach, and they're clean. And where we stayed in the resort, they had chairs and umbrella. I thought we'd have to pay for them, right?
That's right, like you always do. Yeah.
So we're like, hey, how much is it to get a chair and umbrella? They're like, nothing. What? No, that's in your fee. Okay.
Since it's in there, I'll use it. What the heck?
So we sign them out, every day. Bring them. But I'm telling you, I highly recommend it. If you haven't been there, it's worth it.
Is it North Carolina or South Carolina beach, or is it Georgia?
It's North Carolina. It's right there on the
okay.
coast. Yeah, it's North Carolina. You're going toward Wilmington. You pass Benson. You go by. It's all right there on the coast, man.
Nice,
awesome.
Nice. Well, there you go. All right. Well, appreciate the testimonial.
Well, thanks for the kind word. Thanks for the kind word.
So you've been giving these YouTube ads are now hitting your show more often. So maybe the algorithms will throw that up there for folks.
Maybe so. Maybe it'll just pop up. Well, it's a sign of progress, right?
Well, we appreciate it. And by the way, congratulations on that. I thought the same thing, not knowing anything. But when I started seeing ads, I said, I think my man has arrived at the big time. That's a big thing.
The rewatches are pushing this thing. It's crazy. It's crazy what the information I get, how many people go back and watch.
Well, that's what I do, Rick. Yeah, that's what I do because in the mornings, I'm moving around a little bit, but as I settle into my morning around 9 or so, 8:30, that's when I go into your show, and as I head out or drive anywhere, that's when I listen to it. 80% or 90% of the time I listen to it, it's not when it's live. It's just I'm too active then, or just moving around. It's after the show or so. I missed the chat. If you don't get it, you can't get the live chat, but who cares? I mean, I love the chat, but I can't get it at 8:30 or 8:45. Man, I'm still getting the show.
You still getting the show. Yeah.
Now, listen to Matt Roan yesterday. He was on around 8. I got him about 10:15.
There you go.
And so, that guy's a great guy. I'll tell you right now, I don't know him at all. I've never met him. As I keep giving you testimonials this morning, haven't even got to my stuff. I just think he is just, again, I don't know who's going to, JMU, if you got him, hide him. Because that guy right there is everything you'd want in a leader. And anything he does, and you can take athletics out of it. That guy's made of the right stuff. He just is. He just is.
Yeah. He's the real one. He is the real one. He is the real one.
There you go.
Moore says, David, not only did he outkick his coverage, he fell in a fumble in the end zone for a safety, blocked the kick for a touchdown, and had a pick six. Wow.
The hat trick.
I'm Lawrence Taylor now.
My God. Block it, scoop it, and score. What the heck? All right. Well, I concur. But that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. There you go.
By the way, before we get into the AFC South, Lawrence Taylor, greatest defensive player of all time, right? Is there somebody else for you?
He's it for me. Now he's it for me because he got the MVP as a defensive player in a time when he was also playing in the NFC East with the Eagles, who were really good then. They were really good then.
Really good.
Between Jaworski and Randall Cunningham at quarterback. And he also was doing that when the NFC had the Niners with Joe Montana playing at that time. The Bears with Walter Payton, they had just won the Super Bowl the year before. I think he got the MVP in 86. You think about all that was going on at the time. And the AFC had Marino. You had Elway playing. You think about the league at that time, it's just insane. The Chargers were a threat. I mean, it was a lot of really good teams. Just in the NFC alone, again, you think about that. So, to me, he is it. I think that Reggie White has got to be considered a dude too. He just does. And because we're caught up in certain time frame things, and I'm a fan of these America's Game shows, network, the ones that comes on NFL Network. Go back and look at the Steelers and go look at how great Joe Green was during that stretch of 10 years with the Steelers. Me and Joe Green, number 1 pick in, I think, 70 from like North Texas. Go look at how he destroyed everybody for about a 5 or 6 year period. Toward the end, 10 years in, he kind of was a little less than that. But for my money, Lawrence Taylor, because he again, game changers from the position. No one quite like him. And then when you hear coaches talk about him, that adds, I know what I saw as an impressionable, I guess, college student at the time, high school to college student. I know now from hearing what others say that played, Rick, that's in addition to what we saw, that just adds it to it. So to me, I went way too long on all I had to do was say, I could have just said, yeah. Is he yours?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Bill Walsh had a separate book just for Lawrence, had Lawrence Taylor on it.
100%. I heard, and Bill Parcells, who doesn't hand out bouquets often, talks about certain plays where Lawrence would go off script and still make the play. And they would be like, well, Lawrence, you can't do this. And Lawrence would come back and say, it said to Lawrence, it's not what we call. He said, well, you ought to add it. He just would go off script. And so, Lawrence Taylor, absolutely. He's tops for me.
Well, we've been talking about the AFC South, and this is a division that it's interesting. I don't think they're going to have the same strength from top to bottom, but I really think there's one team you and I, and we haven't pre-spoken, folks. We don't get together a whole lot and talk about the exact details, but there's one team in this league that we think, as long as one player bounces back, that has a real shot to be playing late in January. And I think think that team resides in the state of Texas.
And Rick, we talk often on the show about you and I, we talked about having differences. I heard you tease that as I logged in, but there's also things you and I see alike. And we subscribe to the fact that coaching in the NFL, probably as much as anywhere, matters significantly as it builds culture and it builds habits and a leader of men kind of thing. That's why you and I in the Dolphins last year, as much as Mike McDaniel was a nice enough guy and made people feel a certain way, when you got to push certain buttons to get 53 alphas to go a certain direction, he was not the guy to do that. But DeMeco Ryans is the guy that does that. And so you and I are fans of him, like we like Mike Tomlin. We love these folks that can, Sean Payton's a lot like that too. Sean Payton and Bo Nix, they have that same kind of relationship where they're just at each other, but it wasn't perfect for him with Russell Wilson when you think about the disconnect between them. DeMeco Ryans is a guy, and he has put his imprint on this team. They've been to the playoffs, I think, every year since he's coached. They were 12-5 last year, and they go to the playoffs, and people, as the years go along and the months go along, you have to think back to what happened at the end of the year. Well, who did they play in the playoffs last year? Did they win? They didn't win the division last year. They were 12-5. So they had to go to Pittsburgh and play Aaron Rodgers on a Monday night, and they beat him to sleep. If you recall, he was not even trying to deal with the pass rush. He was seeing ghosts. They beat him 30-6. So that Houston Texans team, and then what's funny about it is I can hardly remember, but now that I think back on it, they had to then go to New England in the playoffs, Rick, and the Patriots beat them 28-16. And that was a game, if I recall, that C.J. Stroud didn't play very, very well. And in fact, I think that was the thing, and the player that I think you're referring to in the tease, if he can come back and he threw for 3,000 yards, but in 17 games, that used to be of significance, and I mean, it's still relevant. But there's 3,000 yards, and then there's 3,000 yards when you're playing well. And I don't think that people really felt he was at his best. And I think he admitted that he needs to be better. Contract years are coming in, all these kinds of things. It's that time to now prove yourself. It was a 12-5 football team in the division that often gets overlooked, Rick. It's so interesting that the AFC South, a lot like the NFC South, for some reason, we talk about all the other divisions more than we talk about the South.
We do.
For whatever reason. But it's interesting to note that the Texans and the Jags and even the Colts last year, and we'll get into the Colts, early on, you couldn't tell how that thing was going to play out relative to who was going to be at the best. And here's what's funny about Houston last year. If I'm not mistaken, when I looked at this stuff last night, I wanted to pull it up this morning to make sure I was right about it. I didn't realize, they lost the first 3 games last year. They lost, again, now it's the Rams at LA 14-9, which turns out to be not the worst loss, right? You lose to Tampa 20-19, and then they lost at Jacksonville 17-10. All 3 of those teams were playoff teams. They lost, so they're 0-3, and from that point on, they end up going 12-2. So that's righting the ship and getting things squared away. I'm a fan of theirs. I think with them, Rick, it really comes down to, can CJ, because the defense is locked up. I mean, Will Anderson, a dude. He's got one side locked up. You got Danielle Hunter on the other side. Defensively, I don't think anybody worries about the Houston Texans being an aggressive, balls-out football team on that side of the ball. I mean, there's very few teams where you can say, I'm not going to worry about that part. They're going to be a top 5 defense, whether it's in yardage or in points or in how you feel on Monday. they're going to bring the wood, right? They're going to do that, especially when they play at home, especially when they can play fast on that turf, which you love so much. The key for them will C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Jaden Higgins and Dalton Schultz, all those pieces. They got Wyatt Teller now from Cleveland. He's offensive lineman, former Hokie. Got him up front. Can CJ now find the magic to be just good enough? I think he can mean 2 more games for them. Don't you, Rick?
Yeah.
He can mean 2 more games for them to get him over the hump over a surging Jacksonville team that did win the division and over an Indy team that we're going to get into that was sneakily better than people remember. That division all of a sudden is getting jammed up. And, of course, we'll get into Tennessee later. I don't think it's going to be any free lunch in that division. And so now you're going to have to play at an exceptional level. That's my quick take on the Texans, quite frankly.
Well, I agree. CJ, I've been behind him since day one. I like his makeup. I think he's a terrific young dude, and I think he understands he has to. And this happens a lot with quarterbacks. You can't just assume you're going to be a star. There's not a lot of Patrick Mahomes type of stories out there in the modern age. So how does he bounce back? I think he's got the stuff to bounce back. Let's
I
see if
agree.
he can. Let's see if the organization stands by. I think they will, and I think he's going to be the key. And you mentioned Indy, and I don't know where Daniel Jones came from last year, but that the Giants had to be going, what?
100%.
But that team is interesting to me. I think they built it correctly over the years. You always see the Colts. The offensive line's always been a priority. When Irsay was there, they did the right things there. What do you think? What do you think about them here coming up, Indy? Can they follow up? Can Daniel Jones follow up?
So again, Rick, the best part about doing this segment is it gives me a chance a day or two before to kind of look over stuff again. I mean, the season's been a while now, but if you recall, the Colts were at one of our hot 4 weekly picks. They were at the top at one point last year. The football team was 7-1 after week 8's 38-14 win over Tennessee. They were 7-1, and then Rick, they were 8-2 going into their bye. They had a week 10 bye, so the bye lined up perfectly for them. It was early November. They're 8-2, and they're in a great shape. They come off the bye. They lose in overtime to the Chiefs. They still have Daniel Jones at that point. They then lose, and I think of these losses. They lose to Houston 20-16. That's Daniel Jones's last game. So those 2 losses, those are, again, competitive teams at that point. The Chiefs, at that point, we thought they'd be a playoff team. We didn't see the bottom falling out for them. And that's no disrespect to lose at the Chiefs in overtime. That should tell you more about the Colts than anything. Then they lose at home to a Houston team 20-16, a division game. Daniel Jones goes out. Then they play at Jacksonville the next week. They get beat pretty good by them. But at that point, that's when the slide really started without Daniel Jones. And so they go from 7-2 or 8-2, they end up 8-9. They lose 7 straight. The bottom fell out for that football team. But even when they lost those games without him, you're talking about at Seattle, no Daniel Jones. Here's old man Rivers. Phillip Rivers shows up, right? They only lose at Seattle by 2. They lose to San Francisco pretty bad. They lose to Jacksonville by 6, and they lose to Houston by 8. Those are losses at the end. Rivers is in, and they're trying to hold it together. At that point, it was duct tape. You knew it was kind of one of those deals. But the football team, prior to that, they beat Miami. They beat Denver. They beat Tennessee. They lose to the Rams by 7 on the road. They beat Vegas. They beat Arizona. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Titans. They lose to the Steelers by 7, and they beat Atlanta. So, to me, sneaky good football team, right? Now, here's the deal. That was Daniel Jones that came out of nowhere, Rick, where the Vikings decided, you're not the guy. Sam Darnold, you're not the guy. And now what are they? Went back quarterback hunting again this year. So you had 2 guys that had really nice seasons. One of them goes to the Colts before he gets hurt. It was probably the MVP leading candidate. And then the other, Sam Darnold, all he does is go and wins the Super Bowl. So if you're the Vikings, you understand the significance of quarterbacks. And if you're the Colts, you really understand the significance of quarterbacks. And to me, I think the challenge for them will be this year, how will you recover? How will you get this thing figured out? And it's all, Rick, tied to the number 1 position in all of sports is the quarterback position. Which Daniel Jones are we going to get? There's Anthony Richardson, who is clearly a backup, if not gone. A swing and a miss. Again, they got enamored with the pre-draft workout. I'm sure they saw the stuff, but they probably just didn't read. He's only started for a little while, and Rick, it matters. It matters.
Can't stay healthy. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, he gets hit with a strap, and he breaks an orbital bone. Now, those things in and of themselves aren't the problem. The accumulation of that and not playing well, it magnifies it, right? And so for them, they got Riley Leonard as the 3rd guy as a quarterback position. The underspoken Jonathan Taylor at running back continues to put up great numbers. He's solid there. You got Tyler Warren from down here in Richmond at tight end. He's fantastic. They have found a guy there, Quentin Nelson. All he does is make all pros and all and Pro Bowls every year there. The key for them will be, is Daniel Jones going to be that guy? And the other part to it is on the defensive side with DeForest Buckner and those guys on the other side. Sauce Gardner's there now. So we got to remember, we got him over there from the Jets. It's going to be an interesting football season because the Colts, to me, was right in the mix. Can they repeat it? Will it be one where Daniel Jones can be upright? We've heard, and you talk about quiet, Rick. I've not heard from him. Like,
no, which is
have
good.
You seen?
No.
You and I, less is more, right, Rick?
I love
is
it.
more.
I love it.
But I've not seen, and I don't go searching. Most things find me versus me going finding them. I've not seen him on anything at all, to his credit. So I like the way the Colts are proceeding with this. With Irsay's daughter in charge, they all seem to embrace the way her style is. She's on the sideline. They seem to find her to be engaging and all about the right stuff, even with the headsets on during the games. It's kind of odd and different. They are all embracing it. If they're fine with it, I'm fine with it. The key for them will be, like everybody else in the division, they play the NFC East. The NFC East this year, they will open against Baltimore, then they go to Kansas City, and then they're home for Houston, and then they've got the Commanders on a Sunday morning game. So right out the gate, they got 4 games where we'll know a lot about them. None of those games are easy. If we think Washington, a lot like Indy, we see them the same way. They lose their quarterback, their season suffers, so it was almost a lost year. That game will be game number 4. By then, both those teams will probably be in a position that we'll know a lot about what the fortunes are, because as they hit the quarter pole right there, we always talk about once you get out of September, these seasons really run in quarters. There's a September, October, November, and December/January month. And so we'll see how they play this thing out, coming off of a very disappointing back end of the season which now become a very competitive division.
Speaking of competitive, it finally hit with my guy, Golden Locks, Trevor Lawrence.
Like him.
Maybe it was interesting. Maybe finally a quarterback and a coach linked up to the same vision of how an offense should run. They started out kind of on some rough waters, then they become very close, and then maybe that's what they needed, a little oil and water mixed very well. Do you see a trajectory with him, first and foremost, that's going to continue as look how long it took Trevor Lawrence? We're talking about C.J. Stroud. My goodness. Trevor Lawrence was God's gift, man. Come on.
He was everything. He was everything.
3 years in, we're like, is this guy going to get cut? What are we doing? And now, boom, they're in the postseason. What do you see for Jacksonville? Because now they're going to be a marked team with a much tougher schedule.
Yeah, that's exactly the tip, Rick. Right there is, all right, no sneaking up on folks. All that Duval, all that's okay. That's fine. You won the division now, brother. You hosted a playoff game. You're 13-4 last year.
Absolutely.
And you allow Buffalo to come in there and sneak one out on you 27-24. So it's like, if we are like some to believe that these things are progressive in nature, then we feel like the next step is for them to advance in the playoffs. They had a home playoff game as a division winner, a 13-4 record. Pretty good season right there. If I'm not mistaken, I think they weren't even a 4 seed. I think they were like a 3, maybe. At 13-4, it's hard to think that they weren't higher than a 3 seed. They may have had a chance to get a second game at home. Nonetheless, they had a fantastic season, Rick. And again, they changed the coach, symmetry with the quarterback, GM, coach, quarterback. You need to have alignment there. It seems to be a formula for success. And it seems like Jacksonville has settled into that. You got a lot of excitement down there. And what's so interesting about it is when you think about the 4 losses that they had last year, it was at Cincy by 4. It's no shame in that in week 2 against Joe Burrow, right? You lose to Houston at Houston by 7. You lose, you lose to Seattle by 8, and then the Rams beat them good. So all those losses were to pretty good teams. At the time, we didn't know Cincy would not be as good, but 3 of the 4 were to teams that ended up being playoff teams. So if you're Jacksonville, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. And Rick, they ended the season on a 8-game or 9-game winning streak. So they were hot going into the playoffs. There was nothing to make you think that they shouldn't have been better in the playoffs. In fact, 3 of the last 4 games, they won by double figures plus last year. So there is a chance for trajectory. My concern with them probably has as much to do with the fact I think the division is going to round into being more competitive. I mean, to me, I think that's where some of the noise comes in. And we just don't know. I mean, we have an idea. The NFC East is built on a lot of good teams and a lot of good reputation, a lot of good brands. What will the Eagles be this year? They got to play them. What will the Giants be? I think much improved. I think I've told you on this program, I'm going to put them at the top of the division this year. Right? The Cowboys are going to be the Cowboys, and we got to think that Washington's going to be markedly better with Daniels back this year. So those 4 games coming into the mix, as you think about who teams play and how they rate, last year they played the NFC West. They had the Niners, they had Seattle and San Francisco. So it wasn't like it was easy, and it still went 13-4. So I like them a lot, Rick. I'm a fan of this version of Trevor Lawrence. I think it seems like It is funny because he looked the same. Everything about him looked the same. His play just didn't look the same, right, Rick? I mean,
it was here. It was here, right?
It,
You could
it had to be.
He was different. Yeah.
It had to be. It had to be. And who knows what goes on sometimes in the minds of these guys. I mean, the sport's incredibly hard. The quarterback position, there's nothing more difficult in the world to play than quarterback in the NFL. It's just, I can't even imagine. And I claim to have been a high school quarterback, and it was eons different from this that they're doing now. I mean, stuff's in your headset and schemes and the way it's so complicated. You've got all this to orchestrate while shaking off whatever pain might be in your arm from the last hit. And now you're having to organize people, and he has seemed to have found his footing. You would hope that they would build on that. And our guy from Tech, Bashal Tutin, has now moved into the lead running back spot because Travis Etienne is now off to New Orleans. But Rick, I loved him when he was at Tech. I loved him. So like Khalil Herbert, when he went to Chicago, I just felt like both those guys, we saw him at Tech, and you know we're Tech biased, and I don't apologize for it. Those boys could run the football. They're good running backs. And so I'm a fan of what they built in Jacksonville, 13-4. The difference here is two things. You won't surprise anybody, Rick.
No.
And your division's getting tougher. And then the caveat to it is what will the NFC East be providing in terms of resistance for you to have success this year? But Jacksonville, a lot to love, and what's become a very, very tough division. Very, very tough division.
Well, that brings us to Tennessee, a young player I like a lot, Cam Ward. I think he's got all the right stuff. He does not have the right stuff around him yet. They still trying to build up around him, coaching staff getting more acclimated to the system. What do you think? I mean, it's not going to happen quickly, I don't think, for them, but he gives them a chance on Sundays because I think he's getting there, and he showed a lot of maturity, I thought, as a collegiate quarterback, especially that final year at Miami. Mm-hmm. What do you think, first of all, about Cam Ward? Is he a doer in this league, or is he going to be one of these guys that gets washed out because his organization never gave him what he needed to blossom into a number 1 overall pick?
Well, similar to who we just talked about with Trevor Lawrence. And look how long it took him, right? And so if you're going to get the number 1 pick as a quarterback, that probably means you had a lot of needs. And the same thing happened with Jacksonville. You're not going to be the number 1 overall pick and go into a great team and be a good quarterback. You go into a team that needs help. And so in Tennessee's case, if you're a fan of Tennessee, it may be by the time that new stadium gets built in 2030 before you start to see all of the success that is going to be needed for you to be okay. I think, Rick, they won 3 games last year. Would we not be pleased if we saw them at 7-10 this year and say, you know what, that's a pretty good year, and knock off maybe a Dallas or somebody like that, or an Eagles, and you say, you know what, there they are again making noise. It would be surprising to me if they had a winning record this year, but we've been surprised before, right? I don't know. Did we have Seattle winning the Super Bowl? Did we have Seattle winning the Super Bowl? I don't think we had Seattle winning the Super Bowl. I don't know, but we didn't think they were terrible. But I mean, did you see New England going 14-3? I didn't have New England going 14-3. No. So right people in the right place. We'll see how it goes. Cam Ward's got Tony Pollard with the running back. Mitch Trubisky is his backup, and Will Levis is backing up the backup. So and then on the roster is a 4th one. When I saw that Hendon Hooker is on that roster too. So Cam Ward is the right guy, though, Rick. And to hear him talk, he is taking it so seriously, and he is not happy with not winning football games. In fact, I think he got dinged last year at the end of the season in the last meaningless game of the year. And he could not have been more bothered that he didn't finish every snap for the season. He wanted to finish every snap of the season. I like that kind of guy on a football team that was going nowhere but to pick up a black trash bag and clean the locker at the end of the season. But that's what you need. You need guys that I remember seeing Michael Irvin talk about after going 1-15 when Jimmy Johnson got there. He got with Jimmy Johnson, and he said, after they had won national championships, he got to Dallas. He said, these guys aren't about winning, Jimmy. He said, he needs to go. He's just trying to pick up a check. So cleaning some of that up, bringing in guys that are of that mindset is going to be very, very important. They've got pieces, Wan'Dale Robinson, Calvin Ridley. Sometimes you have to remind yourself who's on these football teams, and is there reason for optimism? Don't you think, Rick? Sometimes
absolutely.
Because of the movement that goes on, we sometimes have to see, well, who do they even have in the hopper that can maybe make some moves? I feel like for them, they'll end up in fourth in the division. I think they're going to surprise some folks as they move along. I think for me though, I'm such a fan of Cam Ward that I think he's the right piece. He's got the right stuff. They're going to have to be patient and understand that it didn't just go bad overnight, and it's not going to get fixed overnight either. So for me, I've got them finishing fourth in the division. I've got, weirdly enough, I got Jacksonville finishing third. I've got Houston finishing second, and I'm going to take the Colts to sneak in and win the division. That's the second
tipped that
one
off a little bit. I can't say I'm blown away. You kind of led into that a little bit last week. All right? So,
I'm glad I'm not playing poker. I'm not showing my hand too good here. I'm not showing my hand too good. But here's the thing. It's just because there's been so much of this that's happened in the league that it can just, again, but I should put an asterisk beside it, but I won't. Daniel Jones has to be the quarterback, and he has to stay upright. The moment he doesn't, my pick will be blown out of the water, in my opinion, and it still may be blown out of the water because if Houston is in who I think they are, they might be right back at the top. But remember, Houston didn't even win the division last year. They were second in the division last year, 12-5. Jacksonville was at the top at 13-4. So that's how I see the division playing out, and time will tell. We'll see how this thing plays out.
Well, and to your point, I think it's a great point. We focus so much on the quarterbacks, and I understand why, especially at that level. But you have to look around and say, okay, what about his receiver? What's his primary target? What kind of a running game? What kind of offensive line does he have in front of him? What kind of weapons can this guy? And it's the same thing as somebody said in chat. We're talking about, Trevor Lawrence, and we're talking about, C.J. Stroud. Does C.J. Stroud have the kind of piece? You highlighted them when we went over Houston. Do they have the receiver, somebody that can be, that outlet, the guy, that relationship? Every great quarterback has at least one guy that he seems to be mentally in tune with above everybody else, right? They just kind of link up. Is that going to happen for him? Is the running game going to? So we focus so much, and I get it on the quarterbacks, but
it's
sometimes
important.
We forget there's 10 other guys.
Ask Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman will be the first to tell you he's in the Hall of Fame on the shoulders of
everybody else.
Incredible offensive line, incredible running back, incredible tight end. I mean, when you can go and name Nate Newton, and you can name Larry Allen, you can name all those guys, Stepnoski, and on you go. Novacek. I mean, listen, we can name those guys, and he was a big part of it. But he was the part. He was the driver of a great car. And now we need to see if Cam can get pieces to ride with him and make that thing happen. No question.
Absolutely. Well, it's great stuff as always, my friend. And the next week,
AFC West.
We get into
AFC West. Look at him, folks. Here we go. AFC West. Some would say the AFC Best, right? Is that what you're calling it? The AFC Best?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Rick, I got to unpack. I haven't dived into all of it, but on the surface, I'm just telling you, it's going to be a 2 to 3 chin strap division. It's going to be really serious. That thing is getting good. There are no days off when you play in the AFC West. That's for sure. Should be fun.
Absolutely. Great stuff, my friend, and I hope you have a great week. And when your anniversary hits early next week or middle next week, when is
next Saturday, 27th. 27th, okay. Year 39. Year 39. That's crazy.
That's
makes no
awesome.
sense. Year 39. She has kept me that long. I'm a lucky guy.
Congratulations. That's awesome. That is
about the same as you. 39. It's about the same.
Hey, day 10. Woohoo!
Yeah. It's the same. You know what? 10 days or 39 years. Nuptials are nuptials, man. Same deal.
That's
brother.
right. Well, I'll be able to give you an updated happy anniversary next Thursday. That'll work out.
We'll do it, brother, man. Congrats to you and the bride again. Please tell her hello from me.
Thanks,
right?
man. Appreciate you, brother, as always.
Yes, sir. See you next week.
We'll talk. All right, man. Take care.
Right.
There you go. David Smith, our NFL correspondent, the absolute best. The absolute best in the business, no doubt about it. We appreciate him as always. We get into my division as a Broncos lifer next week. Hey, Bo looked good running around minicamp. The ankle looks repaired. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room on the professional door text line, as many of you have already done all morning. Go Raiders. Hey, I'm interested to see your young quarterback. Although I don't think he's going to start. I think Kirk Cousins is going to start out there. We'll see. That's okay. We segue in from David Smith to this gentleman. There is no one who has a better pulse on The honest parts of Virginia Tech athletics. Then Chris Coleman from Tech Sideline. Double C, what's up, brother? How are you?
Doing well, man. I didn't know you got married. Congratulations.
I know, man. Yeah, it was June the 6th.
D-Day, Maris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. How are you? How's things going? The summer is not without a lack of news regarding Virginia Tech football, huh?
It's been busy, man. It's been busy. It actually started as usual when I was on vacation. We got a bunch of commitments, and
that's what Will said.
The director got fired. So lots of things going on when I was on vacation, and I saw all it was going on. It was nice to just be able to put the phone down and be like, well, that's why we pay those other guys too. They can handle
right. Yeah. You weren't even in this country, right? So you're like,
wasn't even in the country.
Yep. Well, let's get your assessment. Obviously, people get all excited about recruiting numbers. I think it's great from a lot of different perspectives that Tech's just being mentioned. It shows you the money is real. Everybody yesterday was hitting me up. They were so upset about the kid who went to LSU and about this other guy. And I'm like, why? Just chill out. Look at the progress that's been made already. And I think it's just showing you already this whole perfect storm has come together very quickly, hasn't it, for James Franklin, and momentum with this program.
Yeah, it really has. And, I'm not going to say historically, but recent history suggests Virginia Tech recruits better out of state than in state. I think there's still damage within the state of Virginia that has to be overcome. But honestly, in a lot of ways, you look at other states too, it's just kind of, it's cool for guys to go out of state these days, is what it seems like. Virginia Tech goes to Columbus, Ohio, and pulls in a 4-star tight end, right? And who is now ranked in the top 100. I mean, Jordan Karoff's a big-time recruit. If he was from Virginia, I don't know if the Hokies would have landed him. That's just the way recruiting.
It's weird,
yeah. It's kind of weird. But I think if you look at recruiting from a macro perspective and don't focus on individuals, things are going very well.
And administratively, I know you were on here months ago saying all these things that needed to happen. It looks like it is happening. Of course, the Rokovich thing got a lot of controversy. That won't go away, I don't think, anytime soon. But what's your take on how things are progressing internally? And we know James Franklin is very hands-on with all the changes that are happening in and around that facility.
Yeah, I doubt they're very long away from hiring an athletics director.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly when that's going to be. It'll get done at some point this summer. I'm confident of that. Most likely before camp starts. Yep. It could be by the end of June. I mean, if you think about it, Virginia Tech's next fiscal year starts on July 1st.
I agree.
So it's possible it could happen in the next couple of weeks. Very possible, I think. I don't know for 100% sure that it will, but it certainly could. And then, after that, we'll most likely fairly soon after that will probably come the new Hokie Club hire. And, once those people are in place, they're going to start lining the rest of the athletic department with their own people. Now, it'll take a year or so for all the personnel to change over. I mean, we saw that when Witt got hired. He brought some of his own people in first, but, he evaluated other people and, that they decided whether or not they were good fits for each other. And over the course of the next year or so, you saw more turnover, and it was gradual. Right. So you'll see some major turnover at first, and then there will be some minor turnover in the support positions over the course of about the next year, I think. But change is happening, and that's coming pretty soon, man.
Well, and fans, I know, and you hear it. Heck, you know more than anybody on the message boards. You guys interact with more fans than anybody. But just even here, people are like, okay, they say all these things. Is anything going to change? Just before, obviously, the announcement with Sands and with Witt and everything. And now we're seeing those changes. And a lot of times, as James Franklin said, when we're over at the chamber function, he said, look, change, if you want it to change, a lot of people are going to have to be convinced that, this change is going to hurt in some ways. And it may not be comfortable, but it has to happen. And I think fans, it feels like to me, what are you hearing? It seems like fans are really reaching out and latching on to these changes.
Oh, I think the fans have wanted these changes for a long, long time.
Yeah.
The people it's going to be uncomfortable for are people whose jobs may be in question, or even if their jobs aren't in question, they're going to have new people to work with, people who are going to have a different set of expectations for them. I can guarantee you that working for James Franklin is a lot different than working for Brent Pry. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not throwing shade at either guy there. Franklin is just a different personality. He's a hard driving guy, doesn't get a lot of sleep, attention to detail. You've got to keep up with him.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's something that level of pressure has not been there on some Virginia Tech employees in quite some time, in my opinion. So yeah, there's going to be some uncomfortable things going on, but that's part of it. I mean, even if it wasn't a bunch of, I know these were technically retirings, but we all know pretty much what they really were, right? But even if this was like highly successful people retiring that everybody loved, and Virginia Tech had been highly successful over the last 10 years, you're still having new people come in. It's still going to be uncomfortable. Anytime there's change, it's going to create some levels of uncomfortability for some people. If it doesn't, then you probably weren't doing your job as the person who hired the new people, right? Because they have to come in and bring their own ways. They can't just do things exactly like their predecessor does just to make everybody comfortable. So yeah, I think that department has needed a jolt for quite a while.
And a jolt it has definitely gotten. I want to talk to you specifically about the 2026 season. I'm excited about this season. People keep talking about the future. I'm like, well, my future's now, because I know the players that are going to be there now. We have a new coaching staff that has to continue to develop. I'm so excited about Ethan Grunkenmeyer for what we saw. That I don't know, Chris, if people talk about it enough. We saw him, what he did, and we got the on-field evidence in the Big Ten. Yeah, he struggled against Iowa, but he bounced back, and he had Indiana beat for three quarters and almost – I love that addition so much that I think Tech can make, if they just stay consistent, stay healthy, can be a player this year. Am I out of my mind?
I mean, if you think about it like this, I mean, what other quarterback almost beat Fernando Mendoza?
That's right.
Year? I mean, he took Penn State right down the field on what would have been the game-winning drive, and then Mendoza had a Heisman Trophy moment right there at the end where he made some absolutely incredible throws. But there was nothing Grunkenmeyer could do about that.
Yeah.
So I think he's a gamer. I think, he struggled those first three starts against 3 top 10 defenses. I mean, which you would expect any freshman to do. But, it helped him as a player. The hottest fire makes the strongest steel. And once he started going against some normal teams, he started playing better and better. And by the end of the year, he was playing really well, especially in that bowl game against Clemson. So I think he's a pretty good player already and still has a lot of room between his current ability and his potential ability. So a lot of room to improve. He's going to be able to make throws that Virginia Tech quarterbacks either couldn't make or weren't comfortable trying to make, in recent years. He's just going to open up new things for the offense. Now, you're not going to get a Kyron Drones type running effort from him. Rushing yardage are going to have to come from other areas. But on the whole, I would think Virginia Tech's offense will be more balanced under him. And I do think he's going to probably have a good year. And when he does, and the team does, you're going to look at it and say, wow, this guy's got 2 more years left. We've got a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, exactly. And, the coaches, assistant coaches spoke to everybody, and, they're always going to be optimistic. And I was watching the offensive line conversation very closely, and I hope that the guys that they talked about is really 12 guys. That would be great. How long has it been since you've been covering this team? How long has it been, this drought between a really good competitive offensive line for Tech, right?
I think you look at those couple years under Vance Weiss when Tech probably went, 9 deep on the offensive line, and there was a legit rotation across the board, and you don't see that very often. I mean, you saw it some, the 1996 line was like that, 99, 2000, those lines were like that. Generally, like offensive lineman is like relief pitching in Major League Baseball. Everybody's trying to get another reliever with a trade deadline, right? Even your best teams are like, man, we could really use another arm, especially these days. So I think that's that's always going to be the case at Virginia Tech and just about every other school. You're always trying to add as many offensive linemen as you can. Now that you're up to the 105-man scholarship limit, you've got 20 more scholarships you can offer. I would dedicate a few of those to offensive line for sure. I would take an extra offensive lineman or maybe 2 every year. It's such a difficult position to evaluate. You want quality. Sometimes you increase your chances of finding quality by increasing the quantity.
Right.
So I would try to bring more of those guys into the program. And yeah, you would see a lot of turnover, but you already see a lot of turnover these days. It's an extremely important position. That's going to be key to Virginia Tech's offense this year. I think the quarterbacks will be good. I think the running backs will be good. I think obviously the tight ends will be good. I think the wide receivers will be good enough. How much depth they have, we'll see. There are bodies there. We just don't know how good the backups are at this point. How improved is that offensive line? Even just an improvement to the average level would be just a massive level of improvement
absolutely.
Compared to last year.
Absolutely. I love that analogy, by the way. You're right. It's like a bullpen, and your closers, your blindside tackle, whether it's a left or right-handed quarterback. I like that. So what is your confidence level in the coaching staff? That's where my biggest questions fall. And I'm not doubting these dudes. Look, I'm not that guy, but new first-time coordinator. I'm still very curious about the Brent Pry readjustment back. I think that whole thing still feels weird. Maybe I'm just in the minority. I appreciate how much he loves the place, but this was a guy Tech couldn't wait to run out of town. He comes back in that role. The defense, I know it had Chris Marv's name on it as the coordinator, but that was Brent Pry's defense. I didn't see a lot that impressed me during those 3 years he was the head coach with that defense. It's not going to change a whole lot. So I'm asking you, what's your confidence level in his staff being able to come together and gel as quickly as it needs to?
Yeah, regarding Pry, it's definitely one of those things where if it works out, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, oh, man, like you put yourself in a position to have to fire that guy twice. Yeah. Nobody wants that. He's such a good guy, So if it doesn't work out and you get to that point, it's going to be easy to say, I told you so. Now, I'll say this, I thought in his 3+ years at Virginia Tech, I thought, is that right? Yeah, 3+. I thought the defense got the most out of its ability that first year when he was the guy running the defense.
The first year, yeah.
The first 2022. I'm not saying that was the best of those defenses, but that's the year where I think they got the most out of what they had. So I think he's capable. I think Franklin has upgraded his assistants for him, bringing in Sean Spencer as defensive line coach, Anthony Midget, a proven safeties coach. It's good to have guys with that level of experience. I don't think Pry did himself or Chris Marv any favors with some of the experience level of some of the guys he hired on the defensive side of the ball. Chris Marv, first-time coordinator, but also a very inexperienced coach in general. And, just some hires like that. When they promoted Xavier Adebe to linebacker coach, with very little experience, Prelo, who we all love, but, he never coached anywhere before Virginia Tech. Right. So it was almost like playing is different from coaching. So I think the staff has been upgraded. Offensively, yeah, everybody's curious to see what a guy like Ty Howell can do. You feel a little bit better when you have a first-time coordinator when the other coaches on the staff are so experienced, right?
Right, in the same offense.
Yeah, you got a very experienced head coach. You've got a very experienced defensive coordinator. You've got an experienced special teams coach. Your offensive analyst is the old Wake Forest offensive coordinator who really did an outstanding job down there. So your most inexperienced offensive coach in terms of, his ability at his position is Ty Howell, as having never been an offensive coordinator before, but he's surrounded by a lot of experience. So like on the offensive line, he's got a really quality running backs coach. And so he's going to have a lot of help. Not that I'm suggesting he needs it. My gut feel is that one of these first-time coordinator hires will eventually work, right? It has to. Bud Foster was a first-time coordinator at one point, right?
Right.
And
right.
at Virginia Tech too. That was his first coordinating job, and
That's right.
I'm not saying Ty Howell's going to be the offensive version of Bud Foster, but we can't be adverse to hiring a first-time coordinator just simply because the last couple didn't work out. Because they do work out, they work out a lot. They don't always work out, but
right.
Every coordinator that works out was one time a first-time offensive coordinator. So I feel pretty good overall about the coaching staff. Obviously, they got to get out there and show it on the field, but overall, I just think there's more football knowledge and just a better understanding of how to run a program with this group.
And I thought for me that understanding came through during the Q&A at the Chamber event a few weeks ago with Franklin. And I love this, and I want to get your take because he looked at the people. I asked him the question about it, and he said, well, Rick, we're not a football team right now. He goes, we've upgraded what we see. We like what we saw in the spring because these guys don't know how to play. It's our job now to bring them here in August and get ready to go. We are so far away, from this thing even remotely looking like we envision it to look. And to me, I sit there and I go, you know what? That's what you want to hear because you don't want to just look across the country. You take all these sound clips. These coaches are always building up their guys and acting like things are so advanced and we're ready. He didn't do that. And I think for me, that was very refreshing. And I wanted to get your take on that because he's bringing his staff together saying, guys, that this thing's got to look totally different than what we just saw during the spring game.
I think he's got a very, very high level of expectation for himself.
And
for those around him as well. And that goes back to what I said earlier about, his drive. It's just on a different level than what we're used to around here. And I'm not saying Brent Pry wasn't driven or Justin Fuente wasn't driven or any administrator wasn't driven. I do think it's a different level.
Yeah.
It's a unique level with him. And I think he's going to try to hold everybody to a high standard. So what used to be considered good at Virginia Tech is probably considered average to below average for him. So, they're talking like they don't have any defensive tackle depth. I don't know that that's true. I think that Sean Spencer might just have a completely different level of expectation for his players, right? So we'll see, I guess, when they get out on the field this year. I think that's what you want. You want to always be striving for the best. You want to get to the end of the season, and if you go 8-4, that's not good enough, right?
Yeah, right.
I remember after the national championship, Virginia Tech had put on a great job building the program up under Beamer. They had 2 great years where they won 11 games under Vic. Then they went 8. Then they lost 4 games in 2000. There's my freshman year of college. They went on a 3-year stretch where they lost 4 games, and 5 games. And that was my first 3 years of college. And I'm like, gosh, this is my fault. I got here and they immediately got worse.
This.
But they went 8-4, 10-4, and 8-5. And we were upset, right? And Bud Foster tweaked his defensive scheme. And, they had to get control of the program, with certain players and things like that. I mean, in hindsight, those sound like good results. But at the time, that coaching staff was not happy with those results. And the fan base wasn't happy with those results. We have to get to the point, again, where we think 8-4 is just like a meh season. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And where we're disappointed. Now, that spoils the fan base to a certain extent, but I'd rather be spoiled than everybody sit back and say, oh, we qualified. We're one of 158 teams in a bowl game this year, right? Good for us. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
the expectations are getting raised. And I think they're getting raised, not only for everybody over there in the athletic department, but, for some portions of the fan base as well, who may have forgotten what it's like to be good and the expectations you had on a weekly basis.
That's
where
right.
You went out there and every week and you thought you had a fair chance to win every game.
Win the game. Right.
Yep.
Right. Well, all I know is I watched 2 teams play in the ACC title game last year, and I was sitting there at one point going, they're not very good. So if that can happen, right? And now I'm thinking, why not? And when people get on to me, oh, man, you're talking to this team. I said, yeah. Did you not watch football last year in the ACC? Absolutely, They could be that team. Sure.
I mean, the best team, obviously, in the ACC last year did not qualify for the ACC championship game. And you're going to see that more and more, with these massive conferences these days and the unbalanced scheduling factor of it, right? Which is why I actually hate conference title games. because sometimes they're not a fair reflection of how the season went. I mean, Duke had no business in that game.
No.
They ended up winning it somehow,
Right.
because, UVA, it's hard to, we saw last year across the board, it's so hard to beat the same team twice.
Yeah, it is.
We saw that in the SEC. We saw that all over the country last year. And I don't think that was necessarily fair to UVA. They had already beaten Duke, right? They had shown they stomped Duke in the regular season.
They did.
Actually.
They did.
I watched that game. But it's really, really difficult to beat the same team twice, because that team lost the game and they go back to the drawing board, basically. So you don't know what to expect from them from an X's and O's standpoint in the next game. It makes it more difficult for actually the winning team to prepare for that second matchup.
Right.
But yeah, back to the overall point, there's always some surprise teams in college football every year, due to the portal. I mean, just a couple of years ago, I was Arizona State in the playoffs, and they had gone 3-9 the year before and made the playoffs. So
Exactly.
I'm not saying Virginia Tech's going to make the playoffs this year, but strange things have happened over the last few years since the playoffs have gotten expanded. So I think it's fair to have expectations for Virginia Tech, not necessarily to be a playoff team this year, but to put a competitive product on the field for sure.
And I think that is exactly what's going to happen. And I know everybody's excited, and everybody who's a member of Tech Sidelines excited. I know you guys are. I got to ask you real quick about the whole Brendan Sorsby disaster. Thank goodness the kid himself decided. Well, we found out this morning that he was told he was not going to play. It looked like maybe he'd stood up and accepted responsibility.
Yeah.
But your thoughts on all that and what it would have meant if he was out there at any point in 2026 taking a snap after what he had done?
I mean, you'd have so many ticked off coaches, right, going up against him, and probably some ticked off players as well.
Yeah.
If he did something against the rules and got to play, because John Smith, defensive end for LSU, who maybe would like to gamble but doesn't, right?
Yeah.
He gets a shot on Brandon Sorsby, right? So I honestly think Brandon Sorsby stepping away or being forced to step away, or whatever it was, might have been beneficial to his own health. And it certainly would have created a months-long controversy over one player that just doesn't need to exist in college football, And Texas Tech, I mean, they tried to fight it tooth and nail. I don't know if that was just them being jerks or because they were contractually on the hook to pay him no matter what. If they just wrote their contract poorly, right? Like if you write into coaching contracts, well, you get your money if you're fired without cause, i.e., you just don't win enough games, but you conduct yourself properly. But you don't get your buyout if you're fired with cause, right? Why is not in there for players' contracts these days? I mean, it should be, but I imagine what these contracts look like at a whole bunch of different schools varies. And I've never seen his contract, of course, so I don't know. But I think it made Texas Tech look bad for sure. It certainly ticked off the rest of their conference members. And I think it's interesting that the court ruled in favor of the conference, and they never rule in favor of the NCAA. So it kind of shows the conferences have more enforcement power these days than the actual NCAA does, which
That's
is
a great
pretty
point.
insane when you think about it.
That's a great point. And I know you're enjoying the World Cup, right? People may not know that about you. You're a massive soccer guy. I know that.
I go to a game every year over in London, and big soccer guy. I thought the U.S. That's the best I've ever seen the U.S. play in a World Cup setting last Friday night.
They got a shot, you think?
They're better than I thought they would be. Their talent level is improved. If you look at it, 9 of their 11 starters now play for big top division European teams. And one of the two who doesn't was Tim Ream, who played for Fulham for years. And they've even got a few guys like that coming off the bench. So you've got top level teams or players from top level teams backing up players from top level teams. So their talent level is improved. The coaching is just light years ahead of what it was. And we got a lot of guys that are a good fit for Pochettino's system. I know a lot about him because he used to be Tottenham's manager, and that's my team. I thought their ceiling before was round of 16. I think it might, depending on who they draw. I think their ceiling is probably round of 8. Now, I'm not saying they'll make it that far, but they're at least a round of 16 team to me. Which, when you consider that the World Cup has expanded this year to 48 up from 32, I think they've made massive strides. We'll find out more. Australia defensively will be a much better, much tougher opponent than Paraguay, but I really liked what I saw.
I think that's great, man. I love the fact you center your trips around that. So you went and watched. Is that what you did when you went?
Yeah. Went to the Tottenham game. Then I went to Austria, Germany, and Switzerland after that. So it was a nice trip. I'll tell you what, man. Once you spend about 10 days in the Alps, you come back and Brush Mountain looks like a tiny little hill now. I don't think I'll ever be able to truly appreciate it anymore.
Yeah, you're not going, boy, these mountains are big here. Wow.
Right,
disappointing.
Yep.
Well, Chris, thanks, man, for jumping on. I know what you guys are doing with your podcast and with Teal and the Bud Foster stuff, man. It's great stuff, man, as always. And I appreciate you coming on this morning. Great insight, as always.
I appreciate you having me, Rick.
Nah, thanks for coming in. You're welcome anytime, brother. Thanks, man. Take care. Have a great rest of the week. All right, man. There you go. Chris Coleman, he's the best. He's the best, man. Great stuff from him. Great take. Great takes all the way around. We're just rolling along here, man. David Smith, Chris Coleman. What a way to start. Well, he's the second half of the show, too. Well, thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here in Ryan, 540-282-94. Get a free quote. Mark Hundley over 155 Walters Drive, the best chiropractor in the biz, sponsor of our chat room. He's the best. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Stacey Compton will be on next week. Bud Foster will be on the first week of July. I talked with Coach yesterday. He's going out of the country tomorrow for a week, and then he'll be with us the week after. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Sorry. The attorney Ryan Pry brings you your fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford. Trust and Estate Planning, National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, me, and, of course, this program. Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated. Lots of great stuff to tell you about as they begin year 40 coming up in Dublin, right across from New River Community College. ReadySetFund.com. Hut. Bob Chris, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Your organization, school group, church group, whatever it might be, you can raise money in a week, 5 days. Floyd County Girls Softball raised $4,300 for new uniforms and gear through a series of text messages. Sundown Electric, excellent reputation, long list of satisfied customers, 5-star reviews, every one. Go look at the site if you don't believe me. Superior craftsmanship, attention to detail. Reach out to the Smith brothers. Don't forget, we're going to be doing the bash at the NRV Super Bowl. And we talked about what they're doing for the backpack program on the 27th. They have a July 4th special, 382-5525. And, of course, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. It's 1997, 540-381-8011. Give James Lawson a call or go by 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Somebody who everybody wants at the bash is this gentleman, another Radford University Hall of Famer, Ron Shelburne. I'm going to go ahead and commit you to the bash in July at the Super Bowl because I know you bring a mean bowling game.
Absolutely. Well, you were talking about our old friend Mark Hundley, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to go see that guy. So, yeah, I might have one role in me. I can picture this. Going up there in good form, and then the back just bam. So boom. If I'm at the bash, Mark Hundley needs to be there.
We'll have Mark there. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for medical attention, not as a sponsor, not as a great guy, but for and if I'm the only one who has that fear, I'm going to call you out.
For medical attention. I love that.
That's it.
Well, how you been? How's your summer going? Everybody good? You guys, you always seem like you have a big trip planned. You going anywhere? Or have you already been?
No,
did I miss it?
No, nowhere really. We're going to D.C., going to Chicago one time. But, staying relatively close to home, because we were looking for cool climates. So, what better thing to do than to go to our nation's capital, but I am very proud of that nation's capital. 250 years. What better place to celebrate it, you know? 100%. So, but hey, you're the one with the big summer. Congratulations, Mr. Newlywed.
How about that? What's going on with that?
That is awesome.
What am I?
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. And you got to meet her in West Virginia. Remember we were up there? Was that where we met? Was she with me?
I think so.
Met you and Terry, your beautiful wife. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's good, man. It's good. 10 days in, brother. We're good. I can handle this 10-day thing.
There you go. It only gets better.
Yeah.
It only gets better.
All right. So I'm watching the NBA Finals, and I'm thinking about when I grew up and you grew up, there are the ways you appreciated basketball being played. And I thought the New York Knicks encapsulated a lot of that. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'm glad they won the title. 53 years is a great story that they ended the drought. I want to get your take on the Knicks because they reminded me of an old school type of team. It doesn't have to always look – whatever the new NBA is, I haven't been a part of it. I haven't liked it. So when I was watching the Knicks, I was thinking, all right, this is kind of what I was used to. What was your take watching that team and how they just got hot at the right time and the way they go about their business?
Well, for the last 2 years, I've been watching the Knicks and Jalen Brunson talk about old school. I mean, he is an old school player. I mean, it's much talked about the influence that his father has upon him. His father's on the bench, right, for the team. Yeah. And but you can just tell he is an old school player, hard worker. And for the last 2 years, it just seems like he has willed them to as far as they can possibly go. You know, with this style of play. I saw this weekend. Dart, he's an Eagle Scout.
Really? I didn't know that.
Eagle Scout. Yeah. I mean, so this is a team with a lot of character. Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, you see how he's progressed. I mean, we remember when he was a freshman at Kentucky. And when I think of him, I remember when he was at Kentucky, after a game, they're interviewing Calipari, John Calipari, who was his coach at the time. And, you know, they blow somebody out, but he's ranting and raving, talking about the maturity of the team. They need to essentially grow up. And you can tell he's just really wanting to cut loose. And he kind of faintly mentions Karl Anthony Towns. About that time, I mean, you couldn't have staged it better. Karl Anthony Towns comes behind him, photobombs him with some kind of silly face right when Calipari is talking about how Towns needs to grow up, needs to show more maturity. And then he walked out. And then I did see Calipari at one of the games, and you could just see how Towns, how he conducted himself through the whole series. You know, I don't know if it was the 29-point comeback or what, but he hit a huge three there, you know, falling into the bench. It was just one more play that kept them in the game. You know, the worst thing for the Knicks are the Knicks fans, okay? Because I've really been enjoying watching them for 2 years, was kind of pulling for them. And I think it's good for the NBA that the Knicks, after that kind of shutout, it's, you know, an iconic team franchise, but, you know, 50-some years since they've won. And so the series starts, and I see the Knicks fans. And as much, look, if you can buy a ticket, go. But, you know, they would go on the road. And it was just kind of like in their face. And I get it, you know, Walt Frazier, some of the greats wanting to show up and stuff. But come on, Ben Stiller. No way, man. And yeah. And I feel like the Spurs just gave it away. I mean, they gave every single game away.
Yeah, led every game. Yeah.
And to me, it was the Spurs were, and I hate to use this term, it sounds like a corporate term, self-awareness, but
it's the biggest hyphenated word that I think about all the time.
Yes, and it applies to those guys.
I know.
With the Spurs. I know. After that 29-point, you know, comeback, I mean, and I didn't know really how to feel. Part of me was I was kind of down the middle, but you just hate to see a team just just to give it away. It was like $1,000 bill laying on the floor that they would never just reach down and pick up.
Right.
And so many games, it just struck me that they would get those leads, no killer instinct to put it down. And again, that's not taking anything away from the Knicks. But, I go back to that series when the Knicks opened up with Cleveland. Okay. And in the very first game, Cleveland has them beat. But then out of nowhere, Brunson wills them to victory, and then they swept them. Okay, they swept Cleveland.
Right.
They're never out of it. Okay, that should be the lead on the scouting report. It doesn't matter how many points we are ahead. Keep playing hard until the end of the game. And so many times I would watch the Spurs, and I kept thinking I would always not that a game in the Big South Conference is equivalent to the NBA Finals, but it's the same principle. My freshman year at Radford, we played East Carolina at home. Okay. Last game before Christmas. And, we're putting it on East Carolina. We're up, about 20 points. And back then in 1987, it was a 45-second shot clock, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. And so for whatever reason, we pulled the ball out and we're going to start milking the clock with 10 minutes left. Okay. So, you can figure out what happened next. Next thing you know, this 20-point lead is about a 2-point lead and we're on our heels. So we ended up having to scramble. Unfortunately, we did, pull the win out, but I'll never forget it. It was a classic case of you're always playing to win. Don't play not to lose. And I don't know if that was the deal with the Spurs, but after that 29-point comeback, I'm seeing some of the interviews the next day, and it was just like, learning experience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? You just blew
that lead. I know.
And we'll learn. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's good that they are oblivious to what they just gave away. They're not throwing in the towel yet. And sure enough, the next game, I guess it was in San Antonio, maybe, boom, they're up again. But then I'm like, all right, I know how this turns out. And it was, but it was an exciting series. A lot of stuff happening. Wemby, I mean, that's a very unique player. I enjoyed watching him play. But anyway, to kind of forgive my rant, but to come full circle, Jalen Brunson, that's an impressive guy. Reminds me of Joe Dumars somewhat from the Pistons back in the day.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, not a lot of talk, just let's play ball.
And how bad can the Dallas Mavericks feel right now? Because in the same draft, they took Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson. And here's Luka now with the Lakers, and then they gave up on Brunson or watched him walk away. They have to be just thinking, wow, what's going on with that? How did we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a time for self-reflection. I know we hey, we're living in the windshield, not the rearview mirror, but occasionally you kind of do need to look back and say, okay, what could we have done better? And let's try not to repeat that mistake again.
Let's not do that anymore. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Mark Cuban, I guess he still owned the Mavericks at that time. I don't know. Maybe it's a situation where, we've seen this in Dallas where ownership likes to put their fingers too much into the day-to-day, the talent acquisition, because they own the team. So
Correct.
Maybe it's something in the water down there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. It's very interesting. But the Knicks got it. They deserved it. I'm glad they won it. They're a team that I really, really fond of. Really, really fond of. So.
Oh yeah.
You got any story? People are asking for Shelburne stories. You have one teed up today? What do we got going on? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here. You got the former Jim. You want to talk about? Wasn't there somebody we were going to talk about? I can't remember. Last time we teed up something, and I can't remember if it was a game on the road. I can't remember if it was some gym or somewhere. I don't know. Maybe not. But
Well, I've got one that just popped in my mind. I saw
well,
on
that's
Facebook.
fine.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook where one of the all-time greats at Martinsville High School passed away recently, maybe over the weekend, Kevin Beamer. Okay. And when you think about one of the all-time greats at Martinsville High School, man, is that list long? Okay. And back in the 80s, I mean, Martinsville dominated everything. They dominated football, basketball. I mean, Husky Hall, what he did. Jeff Atkins, I think, followed him up. But Kevin Beamer was and I didn't know him, but he was, about a 6'5", 6'6" player for a great team. They won all those state titles, but he passed away this weekend. And I only crossed paths with him one time. Going into my sophomore year, again, I'd had 1 year of organized basketball. Again, in the words of many, I was still struggling to walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay. But I'm going to get there one day, Rick. I promise you.
I know you will. One day you're going to figure all that out.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to master that, that athletic move. But so we go down to Virginia Tech. Now, keep in mind, I got to bring Mike Porter up. Mike he's with us. He has already committed to Virginia Tech. I mean, halfway through his junior year, he committed to Virginia Tech. I remember reading about it in the paper, and I was like, wow, that was early. So Mike is actually spending the summer down at Tech, okay? So we get invited to this team camp, and, man, there were some ballers there. There was a team out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They had a 6'11" guy named Doug Roth, who ended up having a great career at UT. I don't know where he went after that, but I never seen a guy who was 6'11". And Mike Porter's around there, and I mean just doing his thing. And on a Friday night, we played that Martinsville team, and I remember crossing paths with Kevin Beamer right there. And it just, I mean, even in a competitive situation, not that he was threatened by me by any means at the time, but was just such a good guy, as all those players were. I was struck by just what good sports they were. They played hard. They went hard. You could tell, super athletic. But then again, I mean, this is a ragtag group that they threw together for this team camp. And, Mike Porter pretty much single-handedly willed this team to beating Martinsville in this. Essentially, I mean, it was as close to a pickup game as you could get in a camp in an official setting. And so that was, hearing about Kevin Beamer, that was the first thing I thought of this weekend when I saw on Facebook that he had passed away. And just for what a good person the guy seemed to be, and then just his athletic ability and so forth. And and it's here in the summertime, you think back to the times when you came up. And to me, when I think of summer and I think of basketball, because players are made in the off season, right? And back when summer camps used to be a thing, Pat Burns, pretty much the first time I met him, he says, we got to get you to go to Prep Stars basketball camp.
Yep.
And this was like the cousin to 5-Star. Okay?
Yeah.
Howard Garfinkel and all that.
It was huge.
And my good friend, Mark Genziano, who I went to Radford with, hung around, the team, and, just a great relationship. So many RU players. Mark reminded me last night in a text talking about Dick DeVinzio. Okay. Dick DeVinzio. Have we talked about the DeVinzio brothers in the past?
Yes.
I don't know if we have.
I'm pretty sure we did. Yes.
Yeah. Mark reminded me.
We can hear about him again. It's fine.
So Dick DeVinzio, I think he was All-American guard. I should know this. It was either UNC or Duke. I know the Duke fans or UNC fans. I mean, how do you mess that up? I don't know. It's UNC or Duke. But All-American guard, he and his brother Dave DeVinzio, they had these camps, Prep Stars basketball camp. And $295. Okay, I square belled a lot of hay to generate the money for that. But Coach Burns says, hey, we need you down there. You need to be in shape. He worked with me to get me up. And it was a great week because that is basically where, players like me, this is where the recruiters come in. This is where they see you. Okay. This is where they see you. You can't, if all you're doing is playing hard in the RVD and expecting college recruiters just to walk in any night and see you, it's a long wait. The phone isn't going to ring. So you go to these camps. And so Dick DeVenzio, he ran the camp, and it was great for me because that's what ultimately led me to a scholarship at Radford. That was where the interest came. And but Dick DeVenzio, what's notable is he would pretty much have an hour session with all the campers every day, and it would be him sharing his philosophy on the game of basketball and anything else that was on his mind at the time. Very colorful guy, very entertaining, but you could tell he had everybody's best interest at heart. Just a nice guy. He was an advocate, and keep in mind this is 1986, of players being paid. He was a pioneer. I don't know who was the first person that said this. Hey, players need to be paid. But he was carrying the torch back in the 80s. And I remember reading articles years after that, how he was he had it in his mind how he was going to do it. In his mind, it needed to be a revolution. It needed to almost be a walkout of college athletes across the nation. That they're not going to play until they get paid. And anyway, he ended up passing long before his time. And he passed away, but I thought, man, I wish he was still around to where he could see this. And just to see how NIL, and again, there's a lot of things in college sports that are not right. Whether or not they get it figured out, it sounds like it's always going to go back to the court system. But I know that he would really be happy to see that. And I have my own opinion on why things are the way they are and kind of in a chaotic situation right now in college athletics, but we'll just leave it at that.
Well, you know what? Let's get into that next time. I'd like to tap into, because this thing's not going to go away. I'm sure it'll be very relevant. We may have you on again, but I'd like to get your take on all that, because it's not. I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon, and it's disappointing. No. It's disappointing where that is, but it's funny. I was going to tell you. I don't know if I've told you. So we've talked about Michael Porter a lot, and everybody knows. I mean, every time we talk about him, I have people going, "Man, Michael Porter." So Cole Wilder, who does the games with me now on ESPN Plus, of course, you started out my first partner at Radford.
There you go.
And then Ron, he divorced me. I know that's why this whole marriage thing. He left me after a short time.
Leave the D word out of this, man. I was holding you back, Rick. No. I was holding you back.
But he heard us talk about Mike Porter. So he sent me this text a couple months ago, 3 months ago. He's like, "Oh, Mike, you guys talk about Mike Porter. Was he really – Mike, come on. You guys – there's no way this guy was And so David Mabry sent me one of the Virginia – his group, the Legends group. He sent me this 5 to 7 minute highlight reel of Mike Porter. He goes, "Why don't you show this to Cole?" And so I copied and pasted and showed Cole. And I said, "Here you go. By the way, you heard us talk about Mike Porter. Watch this and then get back to me." So I sent it to him. I didn't hear from him until the next morning. And he's like, "Rick, I owe you and Ron a massive apology." I said, "When we try to tell you he's the most talented player in the history of this area, we're not just blowing smoke." Right. So I thought that was kind of cool. I wanted to share that with you. Cole's like, "Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board now." So
and the video, I mean, you got to see it, right? Sometimes you just have to paint a picture for all of us. You got to
see it, right?
It's unbelievable. But if you want to see it in print, Ray Cox wrote an article many years ago. He was still working for the Roanoke Times. He was covering the state tournament. He wrote an article, talking about all the great players he had seen. at the state tournament. Everybody from Allen Iverson to where, Ray's got a depth.
Oh, his Rolodexes, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he just went through there, and it was an incredible article. And then at the end, he says, but the best I ever saw, hands down, Mike Porter. Come through the state tournament because, in 83, 84, Pulaski, they made it that great team, with Porter, Todd Hopkins, Ivan Snell, that whole crew. Our good friend Woody Altizer on that team. Yeah. They made it to the state championship. And he talked about Ray Cox said, hands down, the best I ever saw, Mike Porter. And here's a little fun fact. Did you know that Mike Porter had a cameo, and I'm using the term cameo very loosely, in a very famous film starring Eddie Murphy back in, I think it was 1988 or something?
No.
Have you ever heard that? Coming to America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming to America. There's a scene where there's a double date, and they go to a St. John's basketball game. And, they show actual footage from the game. Now, and again, it didn't show, Mike going in for a tomahawk or anything. But it was clearly Mike Porter right there. And I was like, holy cow.
He's in the movie? It's his scene in the movie? Really? Okay.
His scene. Yeah. Yeah, and it's worth going back and watching that movie just for that and for a whole lot of other reasons.
I'm going to. I'll do that later today just to find the man.
Yeah.
I do know exactly what you're talking about because they're sitting there with the Jerry Curl guy. And
Yes. That's it. Hey, and I'll share this to be a little more serious about Mike. All right, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, 5'11" at best. I mean, incredible dunker. But here was the thing. He always, and for, people that just are really into basketball, they'll appreciate this. He always left from 2 feet. It was not something that where he had to be in full court stride and get his momentum up and go off 1 foot to get up there. I don't know that I ever saw him dunk coming off 1 foot. It was always whether he was operating down low, or whether he was in the full court, he always planted on 2 feet. I mean, he was a power dunker if there ever was. I mean, he was Daryl Dawkins in a 5'11" body.
5'11" guy, yeah, he was.
Much more talented than the great Daryl Dawkins, rest in peace. But that's just something that popped up about Mike. That Cole and everyone needs to appreciate. He always left from 2 feet.
Always left from that's not bad advice for life, as a matter of fact. Always leave from 2 feet. Not bad.
Just stay grounded.
Stay grounded. As you always are, my friend, and I do appreciate you stopping by today. That was awesome.
Thanks for the invite. I always enjoy coming on, man. The show's doing great. You're killing it.
Yeah,
and,
doing good.
Looking forward to the bash. Again, we do.
You'll be there. Morris,
medical personnel.
Gilbert's there. Yes, for the ball.
We do need medical personnel. I know we were kind of joking about it, but seriously, if we could have medical personnel there, I would appreciate that.
I'll work on that with Hundley. I will.
There you go.
All right, brother. Well, have a great weekend. Thanks for the well wishes again, and we'll talk very soon.
Absolutely. Take care, Rick.
All right, brother. There you go. Right show with the best. My good friend. Nobody's better than that guy. That guy's known Ron a long time. He's earned everything he's got. He's very, very successful and just a great dude. Just a great family. Radford Hall of Fame. We had 2 Radford Hall of Famers on today. Jeez. Morris says, now I can die. Ron is coming. Yeah, Ron will be there too. He won't just tell us he's coming. Ron will be there. I like medical attention. All right, I kicked the hell out of my monitor here. So not this one over here that I use. It's like all these colors are going on right now, and it's kind of freaking me out. I don't know what I did. But anyway, we're good to go. We're good to go. Don't forget, let me get this right here. Let me get this thing up here because tonight at 7, Big Dog Pop's going to debut, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things. Sports is fine, but we're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about movies, TV, politics, whatever. Stop on by. What I need is your email address. We're going to put you on the screen. We can get up to 6 to 8 people on the screen. I need your email address. Send it to the Professional Door text line, 3910788. You can DM me through Facebook. If you want to just give it to me in chat during the show, I don't care, whatever you're comfortable with. But we'll have you on. We'll talk about whatever. We're just going to – there's not any rules. It'll be a little more unfiltered. This is something that I want to try and see how it goes. I know people have been very excited. I had several people reach out to me yesterday about it. So, yeah, let's get it going tonight with Big Dog Pop at 7 p.m. here on the main channel, okay? I'm not going to make you search for it yet. It has not, we haven't gotten it started, so it's not like we can create a different channel yet. But that'll be tonight. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Your opinions are going to make the show. Your take on whatever it might be is what's going to make the show. So bring it tonight. We'll put you on screen. Nobody has to be shy, and we'll have a great time. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. Dwight Vick momentarily. Okay, I just cut it off. I just hit the off button. We're gonna see if that works. So come on with us tonight. We'll have a great time on the program. BDST Pop. 7 o'clock tonight. And I think it'll take off. Because it's not just sports. Talk about movies. We'll talk coming to it. What a great see Ron. So now Ron has me distracted. Because now I want to go back and watch that scene from Coming to America. They are at a St. John's game, and I didn't realize they show a Mike Porter scene, play in the background. They were showing actual footage of the game. He played for Lou Carnesecca. Didn't work out for him long term there, but of course Ron Shelburne knows that. Right? Like, of course Shelburne has that knowledge. Of course he does. Of course he does. All right. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. I think we're back up and running now. It'd probably be good if I wasn't just kicking the crap out of stuff down here. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, the 8RV Super Bowl, Sundown Electric, the Ready Set Fund. Thanks to Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon up in Dublin. You want a t-shirt, hit me up, $20. Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, National Bank, member FDIC, my exclusive banking partner. The attorney Ryan Pry, our BDST fan question of the week, Little River Heating and Air. Of course, we're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. We've talked a lot about Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic. He will be on hand to supply bowling skills, but also medical attention. Mark's like this sneaky, he's one of those guys that's good at everything, by the way, Mark Hundley. Just this natural athlete, he's a great golfer. He skis like he's been training for the Olympics. And you're going to see Mark, he probably hasn't bowled in 7 years. He'll go and he'll bowl like a 263. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. The Bash is coming up in July, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Did they eat at McDowell's before the game? I think they may have, yeah. Wayne, you better be there tonight for the debut of Big Dog Pop. Tell Carol that you've got to stop by. But that's tonight, by the way. I put it up on all the socials just now, so you'll be able to find it everywhere. 7 o'clock tonight. I will be on time, and we will rock and roll with BDST Pop tonight. Dwight Vick joins us next. We'll give Dwight an open invitation when he joins us here. See if he wants to stop by tonight. By the way, as knowledgeable as Dwight is about humanity, relationships, he works in the profession to help people, and about football, tech football, and about kids and everything. He knows as much about movies and pop culture as anybody that I know. Let me go get Creed. Creed, by the way, had a little chipmunk snack. So I know. All right. There we go. Took care of some business there. Joining us now on the program, we always take care of business when this gentleman's with us. He is the quintessential source for all things Virginia Tech football, helper of humanity, one of the best people I know, Dwight Vick. What's up, DV? Good morning.
Hey. Good morning.
Well, first of all, if you have any time or you're sitting around, you get a little bored tonight, join us for a Big Dog Pop's going to debut tonight, 7:00 on the channel. Also, just come on by.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. We're just going to talk about yeah.
How long does it go?
So yeah, if you want to pop on tonight, man, let me know. Let's just send me your email. I'll send you an email.
How long does it go tonight? How long does it go?
You know what? I'm just going to go. If it's going well, I'm just going to let it go for a little while. No rules. Just whatever people want to jump on tonight. We're just going to have fun with it.
I think I got 7 to 8. So I think I'll be finishing up at about 7:45 with work. So Thursday's my long day.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But I'll send me the link. I'll jump on.
All right, we'll do that. Well, listen, man, a lot to get caught up with. I haven't talked to you in a while. I was out honeymooning last week and everything.
Yeah,
so,
congratulations.
Thanks, man. How about that? What's up with that?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Give me some secrets. Now, this is my second go around. You've been what? You met your wife at Tech, correct? Or was it before that?
No. I met my wife at Tech. Matter of fact, I met her in 1997.
That's cool.
Yeah, gosh. Actually, Monday will be 25 years.
Oh, happy anniversary. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've been together 29 years total. I 3 kids later, house, some goldfish, some guppies or whatever.
Yeah.
Couple of cars. It's life is a lesson. It's a journey. It's been a long journey. It's been a good one. So hopefully we got 25 more years in us. Yeah, man, it's crazy. I met her at Virginia Tech. She used to work. I was going in to get some books at Volume 2 bookstore. I was a true student athlete. And I was in there.
Imagine that, right? Wow. Who knew that could act? Yeah.
Yeah, I go into the bookstore. I had never seen her before. We had maybe been in the same spaces, but we never really met. And then went up to the register and she blew me away with her smile. She just had the prettiest smile. And I was just like, I don't know if soulmates are real or like Cupid and all of that, but I felt like the music was playing when I met her. Like when I met her, like it was like slow motion. Like she was working the register and I was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? She was like, hello. And then I was like, you a student here at Tech? And she was like, yeah. And I just started talking to her. And then there was 2 other ladies that worked there that I already knew, Sabrina and another girl named Kim. And I was just being silly. I'm always being silly. And I was trying to impress her. And I was like, well, I'm a 3.8 GPA student. I'm going to graduate cum laude or whatever. And I said, Kim, tell him. And Kim looked at her. She was like, all right, Vic, whatever. And I said, what are you doing? But anyway, man, I asked her if she was going to a party later that night. And she said she was. And then I did. I saw her later that night. And we talked and we danced. And it was like I kept seeing her after that. I kept running into her. And I got her. No, she took my number. She said she would. I was that kind of threw me off a little bit. She said, I'll take your number. And she called me. At that time, I was living in Fox Ridge Apartments with my 2 roommates. And then next thing you know, man, 97, 98, 99, got married in 2001. And she was from Northern Virginia. So she should have ran track. She talking about my 3 kids being athletes. My wife was she's from the DC area, Northern Virginia, born in DC, lived in Northern Virginia. She was all met track and she was a sprinter and she was a great runner, but she didn't want to run track in college. She came to Tech initially as an engineer major. So she didn't want to run college. At that time, if I'm being blunt, which I try to be, Tech's track team back then was trash. Not like it's very, very good now, but she was like, she just, being an engineer major at Tech was a challenge enough. So she didn't run, but she still watches track, still loves track. She loves sports. She was perfect because she was gorgeous, but she knew and loved sports. So you could talk to her now. I'll never forget the 99 season. We're at Mike's apartment, hanging out with Mike, Terrell Parham, and also Emmett Johnson. And I'm already done playing now. I'm actually working out with Mike Gentry in the weight room. And she told Mike, she said, Mike, I'm telling you, you got to start looking for the tight end. The tight end is always open. And Mike
your wife said,
yeah, Mike said, for real, Shanice? He said, for real? She said, yes. Next game. This is a true story, man. Next game, he hits Bob Slowikowski for a long pass and Browning win as well. And she was like, I told Mike it was, and I mean, I'm telling you, because it wasn't like he wasn't throwing to the Titans before, but it wasn't like he did afterwards. Again, knowing Mike, he's so humble. He'll tell you Shanice played a part in that. But now I got a great wife, man, a great mother, a great friend. It's not always easy, man. Like, it's not always roses. Sometimes it's a challenge. Sometimes you bump heads. Sometimes you question if you're doing the right thing, if it's working out. But, think about 25 years or 29 years in any relationship, right? So that's just life. I think we do it the right way because we don't paint a beautiful picture. I think we are truthful and honest about how hard it is and how committed you must be, but also how love is unconditional and how you have to make it work by sacrifice and communication, evolving with each other.
Yes.
We were totally different people in 1997 driving around Blacksburg and Christiansburg. Totally different people. But the essence of who we are is who we are. So, yeah, man, 25 years Monday is insane.
That's awesome. Well, it says a lot for you both, man. And how much do you ever, I'm sure you do. You're one of the most introspective people I know. Do you sit back sometimes, like, when you interact with all these folks that you help and what you do, how much has that helped you in your own personal life when you go into your marriage as a father, as a husband? How much do you just kind of rely on that, right? And think about what you're telling people and how you can apply that or whatever that's got to just be a terrific resource for you.
Yeah, it is. And I'm glad you said that because I tell my clients and my patients that my style of therapy, counseling, and mentoring is collaborative. And I learn from them just as much as they learn from me. And I feel like you can't be a great clinician or you can't be a good professional if you're not fully engrossed of like with your craft and what you're doing. It's like if you're coaching somebody, you should be learning from your players just as much as they're learning from you. So obviously I've coached off and on high school and youth sports as well. But when I'm helping people, I'm in the moment, I'm helping, but I'm also learning about, because I do marriage therapy, family therapy, individual counseling. I work with high school kids, and I always reflect on my day or my cases. I think I learned the most from my couples and my families because I learned, oh, this actually could work. Or I probably need to look at myself as a father. Have I always been present? You talk about like mental health and mental illness. It can happen to any of us. So I try to practice self-care. I also try to make sure I'm enjoying what I'm doing because it's so demanding and it's so hard. So I try to make sure I'm enjoying it too. So it's taught me not to judge people. I think when, it's funny on your show and in this world we live in, people talk about how much money, the Knicks made, or revenue sharing, or NIL, or Wembanyama, or whatever, the Celtics. And when you're on my side of the fence, not that I have a lot of money, because I don't, but I've been around millionaires. I've been around people that have a lot of money, and I have a lot of clients that don't have that much money.
Right.
Here's the catch. Whether they don't or they do, the ones that have peace of mind are the ones that realize in life, you have to make the most of it and not get caught up on what you don't have. I think a lot of people assume when they see someone that has millions of dollars or they're making a lot of money, it doesn't mean they're happy. I tweeted yesterday or 2 days ago, I posted, high school female and student athletes, female and male athletes, please use your resources and take care of your mental health. I think a lot of people need to do that, because money is not going to make you happy.
No.
It's just not. And I think that's what I realized the most in helping my patients and clients is that, like, you think about somebody, I have clients that live in Reston and Herndon and Falls Church that live in $1 million homes, but the family can't communicate, or there's always dysfunction. So money doesn't make them happy. They would rather, Rick, there are people that look at you right now and look like, hey, you got a great life because you have a family, you have a beautiful wife. They would trade places, right? I give you a story I use in therapy sometimes, right? I do this more in group therapy, but if you took a group of people and you said, write down 2 or 3 things you hate about your life or your biggest problems, and you balled them up, or you put them on a piece of paper and you put it in the middle of the circle or a hat, and you shook it all up, and then you took someone else's problems, most likely you're going to see their problem and wish you had your old problem back.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So when we wake up every morning, we got life. There's somebody right now on dialysis. There's somebody right now getting chemo. There's somebody right now that just got a leg amputated.
Right.
So it's all about perspective, right?
No, it's a great reminder. It is, and so correct. And you're right. Chris Lester said that Dwight's counseling style is like Denzel and Antoine Fisher, right? It's kind of, it's right.
Hey, but that is like, I am very versatile. I've had sessions where I do that. I also have sessions like in The Equalizer, when he grabbed that one kid up and he put the gun to his face. He said, what you gonna do? You can't blame it on your environment. You can't blame the white man. You can't blame this man. He said, all them boys upstairs are liars. And, he confronted him. You remember that scene?
Yeah, I love those movies. I love Robert. He's one of my favorite all-time characters. Denzel's my favorite actor, so that character I'll just always.
Yeah, so like I have style when I take these young men I work with, black and white, and I confront their thinking errors. But then I also have young ladies I work with. I have bipolar patients. I have schizophrenic patients. I have clients I'm helping get through divorce. I'm having couples I help reunify their marriage. It just depends, but I'm versatile in my style of counseling. I think that's what makes me relatable. Absolutely. Is I can go in any environment or deal with pretty much any client. It's funny too. I don't know if this is directed to you, connected to you, but the last 2-3 months, I've gotten 4 clients from Southwest Virginia.
Hey!
Yeah. I got 2 from Blacksburg, Roanoke. It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, I won't necessarily take credit, but I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, I liked it. And what you brought up too is I think is so key. And I had to learn this as a younger person when I grew up to be a man, is the judgment part. You can't walk around thinking that you're in high authority over anybody in any aspect. You just have to look at your own self every day and try to be better than you were. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's so true, because just like what you said, you never know what somebody's got. And I always try to remember that. And I don't care if they agree with anything I say on the channel during the show, or if they disagree. I love it. Whatever. If you're just honest about your take, then that's all I need. And I think that's what has happened too much. And that's what we see too much in this world. So much judgment. If you like this political candidate, or you don't like this one, then all of a sudden you're a bad person. I don't understand that type of thinking. Everybody's got to. But anyway, I'm with you 100% on that. About the whole
I think what happens is social media is very powerful. We have more opinions from people all over the world more than any other time in the life. Were those opinions there before social media? Absolutely. We just didn't hear about it, didn't know about it. I think the most dangerous thing you can do is judge something, especially we don't know all the facts. You don't know all the story. You don't know everything behind it. I think a lot of people, man, one of my best, I don't want to mess this line up, but in one of the Batman series, one of the movies, the Butler, I think it was when he was dealing with Bane. Yeah. And Alfred tells Bruce Wayne the story about the guy that was trading the jewelry or the jewels for fruit and just, right? And he tells Bruce Wayne is trying to figure out what makes either the Joker or Bane, what makes him tick. And Alfred tells Bruce Wayne, who's also a Batman, some people just want to see the world burn.
That's right.
And Bruce is standing there like, damn, Alfred always drops gems. I'm telling you. Now think about this. Bruce Wayne, to tie in my point, I'm about to make a strong connection here.
I love it.
Bruce Wayne learned more as a billionaire from his butler and his experience in any other part of the Batman movies and series. He learned more from his butler, not some consultant, a butler. Because Alfred would watch him mess up his deal with Rachel. He would see Bruce Wayne self-sabotage or drink himself to sleep. And he would also see him trying to figure stuff out. He would just make a simple statement and you would figure things out. And I think that's kind of like what happens when we look at stuff from afar. We can't tell who is who, so we become fools in judging because we don't know the story, right?
Don't know the story, right.
That's why sometimes I'm reluctant. I see people, especially when it comes to sports, good Lord, you see all these people now, everybody's got headphones and a microphone, everybody's got a platform, but they don't do their research, they assume. I think the most dangerous thing now is that if I come on with AI as well, if I come on a show, or if I come on a social media app and make a statement and say, this person's racist, this person touched me, this person's embezzling money, it becomes factual. And we have gotten lazy as humans. We've gotten lazy as journalists or fathers or mothers, and we take everything for face value without actually being patient in our due diligence and doing research or seeing something play out. We can't 100%. Wait. We have to know, and we assume, and we don't know. And it's just so dangerous. It is so dangerous. And that's why social media can be such a curse or such a problem. And we just, that's why I try to focus on me and who I help and my own family. And one thing, if anybody's watching and listening to what I'm saying, I would say this too. Give your attention and your energy to situations or people in which it's reciprocated. Like, stop consuming yourself with trying to focus on every negative aspect or every murder or every crime or every racist situation or every problem going on. You're going to overwhelm yourself. Find out ways where you can literally make Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the weekend a better day for you and someone else.
100%. Right.
You can spend more time texting your grandmother, calling her, checking in with your children than you can arguing about who's better between LeBron and Michael Jordan.
Right.
I've seen 53-year-old men on Facebook group pages go back and forth about LeBron versus Jordan and Kobe for 4 hours. How do y'all have the time? Or I've seen people go back and forth about Trump and Biden, and they will go on and on and on. You could have written a screenplay by now. Again, even on a simplistic level, UVA and Tech fans. You know what's funny about UVA and Tech fans? I love it. I'll sit back and watch them go back and forth. And I'm like, hey, listen, I played in the era when both teams were ranked and they were relevant and they played meaningful football. UVA had their best season in school history last year. Before that, Pry and Elliott were on the hot seat. And UVA and Tech, in the grand scheme of things, are irrelevant. If you're not winning, what are you arguing about? Who's the best mediocre team? Who's the best? What? So if you want to spend 4 hours on X and Twitter talking about it, good. You know what I'm saying? Good for you. I'm not doing that. I'm going to talk about something that's relevant. Will I debate somebody for a few minutes? Yeah, but I have trolls that jump in my mentions all the time, and I look at them and I just say something real quick, and I block them or I keep it moving. Because again, like that scene in Batman when the butler, Alfred says, some people just want to see the world burn. Rick, there are people that wake up every day. There are two types of people. There are people that wake up every day and they want to do something good. They want to work hard. They want to make the world a better place, or they want to make life better for themselves and their family. And you have people that wake up and they're miserable and they project and all they do is hate. And they 100%. Spread negativity. You got to choose who you surround yourself around.
That's right. That's 100% right. Your circle is the most important thing. And, you hit it on the head. Facts don't matter anymore. Not to me and you. I'm talking about the media. They don't care. They don't care. They're feeding into the think tank of what they want to project about themselves into what they're reporting. Doesn't matter whether something's true or not. You hit it on the head. Somebody, I believe that ideology. So that's got to be true, because the other side can't have anything that they can add to the conversation because I don't agree with it. So this is factual. There's no facts attached to it, but this is factual. He's a terrible person because they said so, because I voted that way. Right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I see it. You're right. I just think if you're not working on yourself, and you're not really trying to invest in yourself or other people. And I don't mean being selfish or self-centered. I mean, like, maybe you're not good at speaking in front of people, but you have some extra money. Why not donate that money to a cause? Or why not spend your energy on something that's going to be reciprocated, something positive, something that's going to give you a fulfillment? Like, I just, when I coached my son in football and basketball when he was young, you talk about what I learned from people. I learned so much for those players I coached. Some of those kids, each one had a different situation. So I became a father figure to many of them to this day. I also learned about myself. I learned about humanity. I learned about being a humanitarian, and also just the importance of time. Like, you can't get that time back, right? So that's why, to kind of bring full circle to Virginia Tech, one reason, man, I kind of checked out on Tech football the last handful of years wasn't because they just weren't solely winning. I felt like when I was 25 and 27 and 32 years old, I had more time to waste. When I say more time to waste, I could give a team 4 hours out of my Saturday and watch it. Because, my kids were smaller at the time. Maybe I didn't even have kids. But then when you look at how much time is, whether you want to say time is money or how precious it is, to me to give away 3.5, 4 hours out of my day or even longer during the week, covering it in a podcast and watching an incompetent football team go out and a program that has millions of dollars look incompetent, look selfish, and players posting online about this, that, and whatever, and coaches just there for the money. That's why I had to kind of withdraw myself. I've not been to Lane Stadium in years. People don't know that because, I've been called the Tech ambassador, and Tech football is such a big part of my life. I stayed connected to Tech because I love the university. I love Tech football and Tech sports. But when I say I cooled on them, I started watching the game and was just watching it. And I wasn't a fan anymore because I knew they were going to let me down. I knew they were going to mismanage the timeout. I knew they were overpaying a lot of college football players. I knew that this guy should not be the offensive coordinator. I knew this guy was in over his head. He was hired because he was your friend from 1999, and he didn't earn that job.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is, because I care too much, I'm guilty of caring, and I invest in anything I do, my emotion, my soul, I'm not going to waste it on this trash. And this is why I have so many hats and so many things because I'm fans of people and players. When I was a kid, I was a Redskins fan. I was this and but when I watched the Redskins with my dad, we would watch the Redskins and Kurt Gouveia and Ron Middleton and Joe Jacoby, Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, and they were there for years and they cared because back then, most of those guys, I live in Northern Virginia, most of those guys would work in the community and worship and go to church because they didn't have that much money. They had jobs outside of playing pro football and they really cared. Now I watch games, teams will lose, college and pro. They'll lose by 16 and they're smiling, exchanging jerseys.
Yeah.
They're hugging, they're smiling. Then you see them at the club and they getting turned up. And then it's like, man, do y'all care?
What are we doing? Yeah.
This family just spent $1,200 to watch you drop 4 passes. And then you tell the media they're not getting you enough touches. What? But this is what we created. The sense of entitlement, man. So now for anybody watching, Dwight Vick I love Tech football. I love Tech
no
sports.
question you do.
I mean, when I say cooled on them, I had to kind of decompartmentalize my fandom versus me covering them as a media personality, not a journalist, but just somebody that does media. So I just, I'm very honest, and people don't know how to take that because they're like, oh, you're not a fan. No, I'm honest. If you're going to tell me, like, for example, I'm going to hit you with this. In my group chat with my boys, the number 1 player in the state chose LSU.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to tell y'all Tech fans, we have been overachieving in recruiting because they're committing to James Franklin, not Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has not won a meaningful game in years. Don't tell me about almost beating Clemson. Don't tell me about the UVA streak. Don't tell me about a big win over Boston College. I mean, a meaningful game. I think the last one might have been Arkansas in the comeback game when they were down 17 or 24, whatever, 17 points.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is LSU is getting guys drafted. They are a better brand right now. They're in the SEC. Have we gotten commits recently over Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama? Yes. Franklin and his staff have. We got the kid from Notre Dame where they didn't have a room and they took another guy. We flipped him. We are doing exceptionally well. But until Virginia Tech starts winning on the field and has a better brand, you are not going to get the number 1 5-star player in your state until you're better. And guess what? This is going to hurt some feelings, but I don't care. Some of these kids are not as good as 247 and Rivals. I'm telling you, exactly. I know this to be. Exactly. I used to work for both of them.
You worked for them. I know.
I used to. I saw how they did the ranking. Let me go watch this guy in a dry fit run around. And then he's a 5. Wow. No, he's not. No, he's not. Look at the competition. But we love it, Rick. We love it. We love it. Do we need to get more 4 and 5 stars at Tech? Yeah. But my good friends down in South Beach can show you as an example. They have been killing in recruiting for 17, 20 years and have not won the ACC yet. They have just had a great season where they went to the championship game, national championship game. But the truth of the matter is Miami always gets stars. They've had issues. Hold on. You ready? They've had issues in coaching.
Yes, from top to bottom. Every year.
Hey, you know what? Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Let me exit this into Blacksburg. Yes, it's the same issues we've had. Not taking enough linemen or taking too many receivers, and we got 2 running backs, or 1 lineman goes down and we can't block a simple twist up front. Or we call a timeout to come back and run the same play. We were in the same formation before the timeout. So recruiting aside, am I excited? Yeah, I tweet about it. I reposted. I follow the kids back on Twitter. I want all these young men to succeed. But we don't have accountability and we don't have a mission or vision. All we're doing is winning the offseason.
Right. Well, I couldn't agree more. I understand, and we talked about things being factual. The 247 recruiting sites, they rely totally on the hold they have over fan bases across the country to get so excited about what they assign to a kid's worth. And let's make a composite ranking. Let's show you where you are in the top 10 this week or the top 20 as opposed to a week ago. Is Franklin upgrading the talent? Sure he is, but he's evaluating these kids in a different way than 247 and all these folks that may or may not actually see these guys play during a game when it matters, right? And so I understand people want to get excited about it. It does change the conversation around the program. That is very positive. Very positive. But you said it right. They're committing to Franklin, and they're committing to the money now Tech has because they've stepped up to go after, to be part of that group that they weren't a part of until this year.
Yeah, they got. Listen, at the end of the day, man. I know we up against it, but I'll say
no,
this.
We're good, man. We're good.
At the end of the day, I keep saying this in my chat. I keep saying it online. I keep saying it when people ask me and stop me in the community. Tech has to win this year.
This year, right?
And I don't care. I know the guys that are coming in, they're going to enroll early in January 2027. That's cool. You got to hold on to some of these kids because a lot of them are still being recruited by other teams.
100%.
You have to win this year because the knock on us is positive vibes, win the off season. We're great, commercials and internet, memes and pictures, and we look really sexy in the off season.
No, yeah.
And then all of a sudden in September, we come back from commercial and Maryland's up 19-6. And you're like,
right in third quarter.
What happened? Yeah, it's like, so I trust Franklin as a coach and a recruiter. I do. We knew, you and I, long before everyone else did. We knew it was going to be Franklin. Now,
we knew it was going to be Franklin.
All I'm saying is, you want me to get excited? How about starting off 6-0 with the schedule we have? How about playing well? How about playing competent football? How about holding players accountable? How about showing up on time to practice? How about having people in the front office and administration all be on one accord and not people messing with money and lying and we don't know, and articles coming out about this didn't happen and this? How about accountability? Because when I look at Duke football won the ACC last year. Right. I didn't hear anything about Duke football last year in the offseason. Not one thing.
Not one word. Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about Duke. UVA, a doormat of the ACC, played for the ACC championship, won 11 games. Right. Were they lucky? Did they have some balls bounce their way? Yeah, of course.
100%.
But they also knew how to finish. And Elliott was on the hot seat and responded the right way. He got talent. He coached. His staff responded, and they won games. Absolutely. It's really not that complicated. So I'm excited about when I see him. I love to see the rankings, but it's not something that's going to overwhelm me. I've been around this sport a long time, Rick.
I know.
Hey, remember when Denzel in the hurricane, when the lawyers was across from him? And he took the phone, and they were trying to decide what they were going to do. He hit the phone. He said, 25 years. Yeah, he's been in here. 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, so I've been watching this thing go on. So I'm not stuck in the Beamer era. I'm not stuck in the euphoric time in the golden era. I want new memories, new expectations. I want these guys in the Berg right now to exceed everything we created. I want them to experience what it's like to walk around Southwest Virginia and feel like kings, or to go back to their respective communities like I did for 5 years with my Tech gear on and get free food and hugs and pictures and sign autographs because we were winning 10 and 11 games and we played great football and we brought communities together. Right now, we've been tearing communities apart.
That's true. That's true. Even the little sectors right around Blacksburg. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I didn't mean to be so truthful this morning, but
no, you're always truthful. It's great.
Y'all can pass around the collection plate. My Cash App is DVic. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. No, I'm good. Yeah. Before I sign off, congratulations again to you and your wife, man.
Thanks, man. I'm not 25 years in yet, but 10 days has been pretty good. So I'm excited.
Hey, 10 days. Yeah, man. 25 years, 29 years together, man. Shout out to Volume 2 Bookstore. Shout out
Absolutely.
to my wife.
Volume 2, where relationships can be more.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, hey, if you get to a point tonight and you're sitting around, it's your long day, I know, but shoot me a text. I'll send you the invite, man. We'll rock and roll.
Yeah. So it'll be like this where I can jump back on and run my mouth.
Yeah, we're going to have all sorts of people. Anybody who wants to come on, we're going to send me their email. We're going to have them on. Yeah, we can have up to 8 people on here. Oh, yes. It's going to be fun.
All right.
It's gonna be fun.
Okay, yeah. And we can talk about anything, movies.
Anything.
Crazy.
We're like unfiltered, brother. We're unfiltered.
I like this
tonight.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, for sure. Yeah. I'll check back in if I can.
All right. Cool.
All right, boss.
Great stuff, brother. Thanks, Ben. We'll see you. Have a great day, man. Hope to see you tonight. All right,
yes,
man.
sir.
There you go. Dwight Vick. Great stuff. Yeah. Unfiltered tonight. Big Dog Pop, 7:00 here on the channel. It's up on the socials. You'll see it. The same link is up. You just click on it. And instead of, that logo in the corner up there in the upper left, this will be the logo. Boom. Big Dog Pop. And we'll have the big picture up as well at some point. But you'll see this everywhere. When you see that, you'll know that we're you see what I did there? We got a record. We got there's Creed. We got a microphone. Like I'm wearing a superhero thing. I got headphones on. I got TV. I got a TV camera. I got albums, CDs, cassettes. So yeah, we're gonna have a good time tonight. Stop by. No wrong answers. Only thing we won't tolerate is idiotic, asinine hate crap. That's not going to be allowed, and you will be banned for life. But anything else goes. We'll see you tonight. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. What another great array of guests today. David Smith, Chris Coleman, Ron Shelburne, Dwight Vick. You're welcome, America. We'll see you tomorrow, finally Friday edition. Will Stewart, Mike Ashley, the open mic, Jen the Gamecock Girl, and we hope to see you tonight. Hit me up. Send me your email. 7:00. Jump on the channel. We're going to have some fun. Take care, everybody.